Welcome back, I'm Jackie Jing, and I am with Veli and Jesse, and we are moving on to some Group B action, ladies and gentlemen. Tempo Storm versus the Susquehanna Soniqs. A lot on the line. We've been saying that the whole broadcast. All right, Veli, Jesse, how you feeling? How you feeling, Jesse?
I feel good. Yeah, I mean,
Good.
This is the match that I think everybody's been waiting for today, so I just hope it's good. I hope we can kind of get to the post-game interview, and that's really what I'm looking forward to the most. I don't know.
He's looking ahead. Veli, though, this is a rivalry that we all love. Super versus crazy. Talk to me about it.
Can you even call it a rivalry if one team is not beating the other? So,
True.
I mean, Super
Ouch.
is funny. Super goes back and forth with crazy all the time, and this is the game we've always wanted to see. So I just hope that if Super loses, Crazy doesn't just fire off. The post-game interview is going to be flames.
Okay, and we're going to bring up our bracket really quickly here, and if y'all are just haven't been watching for the last couple of weeks, why haven't you been watching? But let me fill you in. Tempo Storm lost to TSM 0-2. Soniqs lost to Dark Zero 1-2. And Veli, can you just elaborate on how much is on the line right now for the teams playing today?
Oh, everything right now. Your top 4 chances on the line. If you win this, your record is going to be 1-1. And you're going to have a chance at redemption to get the second place spot for stage 2. Now, if you lose, you lose your chance on qualifying for that top 3 automatic invite to the major. That's something that everyone's fighting for right now. You don't want to chance it in the qualifiers. You don't want to chance it in relegations. You have to win now.
All right, and our casters are ready, so let's go and check in with Blue and Stokes. Gentlemen, how are you feeling? About to get this Group B action underway.
Feeling pretty good. I think that we've got a really exciting matchup being prepped for us here going into this game, and I think that there's a really good rivalry that's been set up over the past couple of weeks. On top of that, at the same time, we've seen these teams make really good progress from their matches last week, comparing that to like the last Pro League season and whatnot. So I'm really curious to see, more importantly, how these teams are evolving in the long term, but also, of course, the inevitable clash between the two.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, John. I think the thing to highlight the most here, right, that everyone wants to talk about is that crazy Super matchup, to see how those two are going to tango out on these possible 3 maps. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm excited for, and hopefully this rivalry continues.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen, and let's bring it back to our analysts, Veli and Jesse. All right, let's talk about our teams today. And let's start off with Tempo Storm. We've been talking about it for the last few minutes here. This is one of our favorite matchups. We love seeing Tempo take on the Soniqs. Okay, but who is going to win today, Veli? Does Tempo Storm have it? Are they going to pull it off?
On paper, Tempo Storm should win. They're the full team here. They don't have a sub. Dream had a lights out performance last time we saw this roster in play. So, this team should win. If they don't, there's issues, and the Soniqs are going to let them know about it.
Okay, and Jesse, let's talk about Mark. He joined the second half of Season 11. How do you think he's been contributing?
I think he's been an interesting player to watch out for, right? Because he hasn't been always on. He hasn't been popping off in every single round. But he does seem to really pick it up when he picks it up, if that makes sense, right? When the rounds that he's contributing to are going underway, he's really starting to help out with the squad. He had the highest headshot percentage of the first week, whatever that means for you, at 80%, which is quite impressive. I think that means that he's got the right aim. He's got the mechanical skill to do it, but some rounds he's not finding the kill board. So I think for Mark, it's finding that consistency and helping out the team in the long term that's going to be really key for him.
All right, thanks so much, gentlemen. And let's look at their opponent very quickly, the Soniqs.
My role in-game on the team is support and anchor on defense.
I'm the captain and the in-game leader.
I'm the entry, and I'm kind of still getting settled out of the game, with the team, getting to know them and all of that.
What makes me successful in my role is being unpredictable, but also being smart about it. You have to always be able to adapt and think as you go. You can't just rely on your gun skill or doing the same thing every round. You have to be quick on your feet.
I've been playing the same role pretty much for 5 years, and I've been to multiple LAN events, multiple majors, and multiple invitationals.
When I need to think, I can, and I feel like I can bring the type of playmaking that Soniqs needs. I can really capitalize on those crazy plays that people know me for.
Outside of the game, I would say I also service as a coach and mentor to some of our younger players.
Me or Iconic, we're kind of just the jokesters of the team, try to get everyone back in a good mood, trying to get everyone on the right track.
I was really the comedian of the team, made everyone laugh, and I was kind of like the hype man. I'd give like the speeches like when we're down to like kind of bring back the mental and like make sure we can reset, because that's one of those important things when you are down.
We all just try to keep each other calm and not sway too much based off of emotion.
We are people who get along in and outside a game, respect each other in and outside a game, and also are willing to listen to each other in and outside a game to just make the team better overall.
Interesting video there. It's nice to hear them talk about their team chemistry. Veli, this team has added easily, and they got a bunch of young gunners. Do you think that they can pull this win off?
Yes. Yes. We saw the potential with 2 subs against one of the top teams in the world. You're going to have to be stupid to think that this team won't even put a dent into whatever Tempo Storm throws at them. Easily, I mean, his resume and record is just impeccable, but Iconic, he's going to be the one that we're going to keep our eyes on. Like we saw with NJR, Iconic is the same type of gunner, so he comes from a long list of pedigree with his former teammates, and I expect him to stand out as well.
Okay, and Jesse just heard Veli talking about it. They had subs in last week. They're dealing with visa issues. They tweeted out their roster for today. How are we feeling about it?
Well, it might be a little bit better for the Soniqs because they have at least recovered 1 player from Europe. Slebit is coming back in, or Golfi, I should say, is coming back in. My mistake. And Lags is going to be back onto the bench. So they've got 1 of their 2 Europeans back onto the roster. Still, that puts a question mark into the coordination, right? Because let's say you practiced all in the offseason with your standard 5, then quickly you got to bring in 2 young guys to replace 2 of your players, and then maybe you practice for like a week with these 2 players, and now you got to replace 1 back. So again, I think there's going to be a big question mark in terms of the coordination there. But they've at least got 4 starters instead of 3, and I think that's going to be a positive no matter how you look at it. No shade to Lags, of course. I thought that he played well enough in his first match, but just having that chemistry, having your core is going to be really important to the Soniqs. So I hope this time they can maybe bring out some more of those strats, show some stuff that they've been working on in the offseason, and show us a good game.
Okay, gentlemen, prediction time. Who's winning? Who's taking it all? Veli,
Jesse,
you
you go first. Jesse, this is hard.
No,
Jesse,
okay,
go first.
Jesse's in the hot
I always
seat.
get the
Okay.
hard ones when we go first. All right, well, here, I think that while the Soniqs were somewhat impressive last week, there's more changes happening to them. They didn't look that great, specifically on maps they didn't choose, which means they probably haven't had a lot of time to practice on those maps that they haven't been prepping for. And it hasn't been that big of a time split since the last playday. So I'm going to give this one to Tempo Storm. In particular, Tempo Storm really did impress me last week when they played their match up against TSM, which is the opponent they picked. So I think Tempo Storm will win this one out. But Soniqs hopefully will make it interesting for us.
Tempo.
Okay, Veli, now you're in the hot seat.
Tempo should win. And with that being said, Tempo has never beaten Soniqs. So I think that the smartest way to go, because this is a toss-up to me, like, I'm going to be honest. I'm
Yeah.
just here for the entertainment, okay? I'm going to go with Soniqs because they're not supposed to win. And if they do win, I look like a genius. If they lose, nobody cares. But I'm all here for a super or crazy interview at the end of the day.
All right. Okay. Thanks so much, gentlemen. And all right, we are excited for this match to get started. Also, do not forget to follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. We also have our community poll. So we'll be right back in a little bit. Don't go anywhere.
My full name is Giuliano Solon, crazy with a K, and I'm the IGL Hard Breach Bomb Planner.
I'm Marcus Mendez, Mark the Shark or Mark, and I'm Flex or Entry.
My name is Manuel, my in-game name is Sloppy.
My name is Mitch, my in-game name is Dream, and I play Flank Watch.
My name is Tim Humphreys, otherwise known as Creators, and I play Entry for Tempo Storm.
I think what makes me successful is I'm able to multitask. I'm watching flank while I'm also positioning myself around the map to just look for picks.
Knowing how to communicate properly to my 4 other teammates, explaining to them what I want them to do.
I adapt more than most players. I try to focus on what the other team is doing and base how I'm playing off of what the other team is doing.
What makes me a successful entry player? I shoot back.
Outside of the game, I'm the team captain, so if people have like scuffles or if the energy isn't high or if we're having like a bad day of practice, it's my job to like turn that around and try and engage with my teammates and just like make them happy.
Mitch is the team morale guy. He keeps us up.
He likes to make really shitty dad jokes.
You want to hear a dad joke? Here, I got you.
He likes to make a lot of dad jokes when we're down, and that just brings up the overall energy of the team.
Why did the energy bunny go to the jail? Because he was charged with battery.
That are really bad, so bad that they make us laugh.
Rainbow Six Siege is unique. It's based on team play and communication.
Rainbow Six is definitely more mental than it is skill, because everybody in the game can shoot. If you have a mouse and keyboard, it's not as much skill. There's definitely a large part of the game that requires mental capacity and knowing what you're doing.
Like, you can't just send one guy in through a doorway and you cannot expect him to kill everybody. You need teamwork, you need trades, you need just coordination in general to win the round.
I love playing it because it gives you emotion that no other games can.
Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the North American League. It is just about time for us to get started with our second matchup of the day between Tempo Storm and the Soniqs. I've got Stokes with me to break it all down, so let's get started. Stokes, what do we think of this matchup? It's quite an interesting one, I'd say.
Probably one of the most interesting matches we're going to see for a little bit rivalry-wise when it comes to hot tempers and all that kind of stuff. This is definitely the matchup that you want to see, specifically Crazy and Super, but we still have a lot of the team to talk about. I really want to talk about Sloppy and his performance from last week, though, where we saw Sloppy be one of the most impactful players inside of all of North America, and we really hadn't been able to see him before play because of that visa. It's finally over, it's done with, he gets to play full time, and he's been doing a fantastic job on that entry role.
And not only that, but from what we heard on the analyst desk, they've been able to get one of their 2 primary roster players back onto the team for this week's matchup as well. So that is more than likely going to help out with them. Gomfi looks like he's going to be jumping in from the roster that I can see right now, so they'll have him back into the fold for this matchup. Before we get too deep into discussing the match, however, we have our community poll for this matchup. We want to know which team you think has continued to improve the most, or will continue to improve the most from last week's performance. Go ahead over to our socials and vote on that. That's going to be at R6 Esports NA, where you can go ahead and find the voting poll on Twitter to be able to submit your vote for our community poll, and we'll have the results on stream a little bit later on. With that out of the way, we can now move into the map pool and see where exactly we're going to be playing between these 2 teams. Any guesses, Stokes, as to where we might see things go here?
Well, I really don't know. I feel like we might have a console in the mix, but that's about it. Both of these teams haven't performed too lights out to the point where I think that there's going to be a spot ban by either team. I think that they're very comfortable walking into this, but as you noted earlier, the Soniqs are still down 1 player. We are going to have Theme Park to start things off, though, folks. This is something that we actually haven't touched on just yet, John.
No, it's going to be fun to see these 2 teams especially jump into it. One thing I've noticed over the last week's matches is that we've seen both these teams be able to kind of evolve their playstyle on the fly when necessary. And I think that that's going to be really cool to see on a map like Theme Park, which is still, for the most part, not really figured out so much yet. I think it's going to open a lot of potentially cool plays that we may not have seen yet.
Yeah, we haven't had many map changes to the map pool for quite some time, but in recent history, we've had 2 big updates with Theme Park and Oregon coming in. So with those 2 fresh additions to the map pool, it's made things a little bit more lively. But we will have Clubhouse and Consulate to round out the rest of the day. So no Cafe or Oregon between these 2.
Clubhouse is going to be an interesting one to see us jump onto, specifically because that's where the Sonics kind of fell down a little bit last week. That's where they seemed to lose their muster against DZ. Now, whether that was because it had gone the distance to a third map and it basically became a war of attrition that Sonics lost at that point, or whether Sonics actually have some serious issues on that map they need to work on, that part is still yet to be figured out. Hopefully today will help us to determine that, as they're going to be able to play onto that map second. Without further ado, though, folks, it is time to get into the match. We're getting started with map number 1 right now. It is Theme Park, and it's between Tempo and the Sonics. Let's not waste any time. Let's get into the map and take a look at the first round between these two teams. Before we do that, though, gotta get the bands.
Gotta get those pesky bands out of the way. Haven't seen too much Theme Park, only watch it. Haven't got to commentate it just yet, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. We'll see what your tech's like on the comms there, John.
I ran through the map 2 weeks ago to learn all the calls, so this is the first time I'm actually getting to see how much
feeling
that
frisky, buddy?
Yeah, off my ranked games, it's not going so well. We'll see how good the casting goes. Maverick's going to be our first ban knocked off the board.
Oh, no.
We'll see Thatcher following that one up, so we're right back in the death combo here for attacker bans. That means you should expect some very, very slow rounds as teams try to figure out a way around those two bans.
I think that's the 1-2, you're not going to get a wall open, buckle my shoe. I think that's how that goes, right? Anyways, so Echo's still banned, and that's a big thing that comes into play when we're talking about defender bans, which means you can get rid of Maestro, you get rid of the 2 biggest anchor ops, and then Mira. So now that you have all 3 of those gone, defense becomes a little bit easier to penetrate. But as we've seen with those offensive bans, things can still be extremely difficult.
All right, so that takes us into the first round. Stylistically, we saw some of the same issues if you look at the stats for both of these teams, judging from their matches last week. Most notably, this came down to things like entries. Now, I would say the Tempo Storm was a little bit stronger in that respect, but that's going to be a very important part of this matchup. Sonic struggled quite a bit in that department in their matchup last week, and obviously they're going to be the first ones on attack here. So if they have the same issue where they're reliant on 1 or 2 players just to get the round started, we could see things go very quickly into Tempo Storm's control. Let's find out if that's going to be true or not, though. The first round's getting started right now.
Well, what do you know? We're headed to Armory Throne Room, which is one of the main sites for Theme Park. We're the most heavily fortified as well, and we are going to be running that Jaeger-Wamai combo too, but no wall denial, and that's very surprising since we actually don't have anything to stop them from getting the wall. Thatcher's banned, and Maverick is also banned. So Tempo's just giving a wall up for free here. I'm actually really questioning why they're doing this.
Well, we'll hopefully get some clarity onto that over the next couple of moments here as the round itself gets closer and closer to starting. Should be getting rolling with that in just a moment here. Besides that, let's take a look at the rest of the setup. Just when it comes to initiation, everything else is going to look secure here. Both walls getting reinforced. Sloppy also going to just barricade off the wall leading into Dragon right outside as they'll play inside a throne room. Sorry, I thought we were upstairs. My bad.
Not bad at all, man. First time on the map, all good.
I think I called throne room initiation just a second ago.
I'm sure we'll be there soon, don't worry.
Already doing really good on the calls, by the way.
10 out of 10, my friend, 10 out of 10. Well, we will have a roam game from Tempo Storm. It's going to be Dream as well as the Mozzie of Mark upstairs, so we'll see how they're able to perform with this. I like the pulse play downstairs with creators as well, able to relay some information with that cardiac sensor, so hopefully that works out for them, but the Sonics are already on duty as we're already 40 seconds into the round. They're clearing east to west here. It looks like they want to set up for a yellow take, which by all means is the default for right now for Theme Park on this site.
You can see the drones trying to gather a lot of info right now. Iconic, once again, will be the first one in. From the Jackal, we'll see if he'll be able to hunt anything out. Tempo still keeping a large majority of their players, including the Vigil being played by Sloppy right now, back on site. Hopefully he'll be able to still use the backpack to dodge around the drones, since there'll be quite a few of them moving into that room. It's a very hard lock position for defenders, so especially at a pro level, be near suicide for an attacking team to try to jump in there without any intel. It's a very important part of it, and it makes sense why the Vigil is playing in the site this round when he's normally almost only used for roaming purposes.
Well, slow and steady for the Sonics right now, slowly burning through this Wamai Jaeger combo. More throwables and projectiles launched into throne room, but immediately taken away. Super with the diffuser laying down at the throne door, but Tempo not showing face, just using that utility to slowly chip away at the Sonics and continuously walking creators around the site to get more intel. It's working out for them really well right now, actually. Not much pressure, but finally the Sonics are going for a wall. Impact trick does not work out, ends up hitting the bar. Sloppy aiming a little bit too low.
So that should mean there'll be at least one access point into the site for the Sonics to try and use here. Time's still looking pretty good too, at a little under a minute with that wall being open. Considering the limitation of the attacker bans, that's quite a bit of progress being made by the Sonics. Take a look at this swing though from Easily. He'll be able to catch Dream sitting back over towards Cash. A trade attempt coming in from Mark, but it's going to fail, and Easily gets a double setup, and he clears out upstairs.
Very poor gunfights there for Tempo. Not a lick of damage done to Easily at all. Gets 2 freebies off some really good droning. Good intel game here, but that breach in the wall now playing into the hands of Tempo. Stormers are looking for picks through it. Sloppy gets one, but Easily with an immediate refrag. No, it's a quad kill for him. Can he ace out the very first round? Actually, it's going to be Creators. The only man left alive, but it's not Easily to clean it up. It's Iconic, and Sonics find their first round.
So though I was talking about how entry power is going to be a pretty big factor in determining how well Sonic is going to be able to do, especially the beginning of rounds, and boy did Easily prove me wrong in that one right from the first round. He shows up after quite a bit of delay, to be fair, but shows up with those 2 entries upstairs, follows it through onto the site as well to pick up 2 more for the quad kill on the opening round. A monster start for Easily, and now our attention is going to shift to him to see if he can follow that up in future rounds.
Easily's ability in the last year is just grown so much. I mean, going from Rogue, where, as he said in the video, he's been playing the same role for a very, very long time. You know, he used to show up on the scoreboard every once in a while, but the best part about Easily was that he did his job and he was amazing at intel and keeping the team alive. That was the greatest part about Easily. But now he's gotten to this point within his gun skill and just his mechanical skill inside of Siege where he can capitalize on so many situations. It's such a dangerous player.
Tempo not going to stick with the downstairs sites inside of Throne Room just yet. They're going to continue to rotate and work their way up to the inside of Daycare and dorms, or bunks, excuse me, to start this round off. We'll see how the upstairs defense treats them. Obviously a little bit less real estate to have to control for the entirety of the round, so hopefully that smaller sphere of influence makes things a little bit easier for Tempo to control in the grand scheme of things.
Well, we are going to have a rotation made to hold this site, from initiation at least. So it's going to be bunk Daycare for Tempo Storm. A couple of reinforcements put inside of Cafe, one of the main areas the attackers usually gain control of. But again, this is going to play completely different from your average ranked games. We haven't seen too much theme park, so still keep an open mind about a lot of things. Well, now that we are into the nitty gritty here. Yeah, very, very annoying. And sometimes the soft destruction just doesn't work out, and you have to fix it with a quick punch or two. So, Mark going to fix that up, and it appears that we're actually going to be going about things in a very similar fashion. Easily starting from the east, working his way to the west, getting rid of the defaults, and getting those air jabs down for those rotations later on for Tempo.
Other than that, a pretty quiet start to the round. Obviously, you got players ripping off a couple magazines here and there just to try and see if they catch something on pre-fire, but be able to line anything up just yet. Not a single point of damage done. Still early days in the round, of course, so no huge surprise in that respect. We continue to see Gomfi push his way forward with the rest of the Sonics, and now you've got Crazy sitting on the other side here in initiation, looking to try and hold this back. We'll have to be careful, hoping that he'll have support from the other hallway in case they try to swing, and it's looking like he did, but they have now lost it. Mark ends up going down to Super. Start this round off by eliminating the defender's Jaeger.
In comparison to last week, Tempo not nearly as aggressive on their defensive side. Trying to force the Sonics to a stall, but hasn't been working out for them. Gomfi, quite a bit of damage done to him, but nothing to call home about just yet. Only about 25 HP. We are going to have the first breach here. Some SMG 11 shots go wide, and Super gives Crazy a bullet for the first time here in this best of 3.
So that's the initiation control wall going down. And a good pickup to follow it up. Sonics once again on track to continue making progress within this round. We'll see the first toxic gas grenade come out from Dream to try and stem the tide and hold back these players. A lot of them looking like they are going to try to at least get some control from the break room window. Whether they'll actually move in and try to swing for that is still yet to be seen. I'd say a pretty low chance unless it's absolutely necessary for Iconic to work himself in there. Dream still sits on the other side. 40 seconds remaining here, and you can see there's just a massive line of scrimmage that Sonics is trying to get past. That kill may help them to accomplish the task. J90 finds the pickup over on Creators, opening up Yellow Hall for a push, although there's still one more defender holding top stairs.
Oh, how the turntables as the Sonics walk in with a flawless round, claim round 2, and actually take all of the defenders' utility instead. All of the smokes, everything burnt for the defense, have to go into face checking, and the Sonics win on every front. front when it comes to that. A great start to their offensive set here on Theme Park.
Yeah, as you said, Tempo unfortunately just having no choice but to try and peak for information due to the utility being wasted by the end of that round, and that unfortunately seemed to have been the death of them. By my count, at least 2 to 3 players from Tempo go down on those peaks in the midst of that round. It seems as though Sonic was basically waiting for those opportunities, and they took them in pretty much every single opportunity that was presented to them. That's going to be a clean 2-0 start here for the Sonics. Some dominating performances behind it. I believe he had a triple there coming in from J90 as well. So a quad from Easily, a triple from J90, and a great start at the moment for the Sonics roster. Tempo, a little bit more quiet here. Gonna have to improve the performance quickly. So they'll now repeat their second site.
For a sub, J9 has been playing so well for these last 2 play days that he's had to stand in for the Sonics, and he continues to do so. Definitely somebody that more than likely we're going to be seeing in the future of Rainbow Six. Maybe on a different squad, maybe he's a permanent sub. You never really know, but hopefully we continue to see him around because he's definitely been showing his stuff in these last 2 play days.
Still currently with one soft wall on the inside of bunks, but I think that might get patched up in a moment here. We'll see if they decide to leave that open so that they can play on the inside of initiation. And it's looking like that's going to be the case. They already have the rotation hole there, so they'll play a little bit more aggressive that time and leave that rotation back if they want to try and fall back to the site. I believe it was Mark who may have gotten caught in this exact hole in the last round, if memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, the difficult thing about the way that Tempo sets up this site is that rotation hole that Mark just walked through in initiation makes it to where if you give up initiation, they have a free rotate. They don't need to use any hard destruction or anything to actually get into sight. Yes, you put a bandit trick on the single panel next to it, but that really doesn't account for the soft destruction, especially when the Sonics are bringing plenty of it. You got Iconic with a secondary shotgun and J9 and Gomfy respectively. So for the Sonics, it is simply make sure you isolate waiting room and then get initiation, start pushing yourself onto site, get those picks, drain the defense of that utility, and try and force a plan. But as for right now with Tempo, it seems to be that the face checking early hasn't been working for them. And I honestly do think that they need to rely a little bit more on that utility. Granted, it really hasn't been working in their favor, John. But at the current moment, what do you really do?
We'll find out over these next few moments. J9 getting himself off to a good start with some assistance from Gomfy to take out the first member of Tempo. Gomfy's going to find the second as he eliminates Sloppy. And once again, it's just looking for duels on players from Tempo, and Tempo are giving them those duels at the moment. That's 2 at least going into the hands of the Sonics here. Not a lot of damage being returned either. See the wall get opened up here by Super over the next couple moments, which will give the team free access to the inside of initiation. And as you said before, they really don't even have to worry about this second wall if they choose not to, because they have the free rotate already.
No, the area that they really need to worry about is that arcade balcony. That's the main rotation area for the defense, but it's being absolutely shredded by the Sonics. Crazy finally picks one up, almost back-to-back flawless rounds for the Sonics, but trying to fix this situation with a very low mag capacity on this SMG-11. Practically has to reload after every single kill, but he's already bagged himself 2. This is the time for Crazy to show up. It's a 1 versus 3. He does have a nitro cell to try and help himself out just a little bit, but at range, this gun doesn't work out too well. Crazy's just making it look really, really easy right now. It's down to Super and Iconic, both on very low HP, which is the exact words you want me to hear, or you want to hear from me, if you're rooting for Tempo Storm, especially with this SMG-11. That's a quad kill for Crazy. It's going to be an ace clutch if he can find it. Again, it's up to Iconic with a flick, and Crazy with the ace to lock it down. Tempo finds their very first round, and that's an exclamation mark if I've ever seen one.
Sloppy chiming in the chat as well, just to add a little bit of extra pain into that wound. Tempo Storm coming back into that round when they had absolutely no business doing so. Crazy doing all the work. Beautiful positioning and timing on every single one of those 1v1s, and Sonics just out of position, it seems, to try and pinch that last man alive and create a situation where they could have easily traded him. Does not end up happening, continuously isolates the individual fights and wins it out. Beautifully played, and a great way to get your team on the board.
I appreciate Super's effort to try and get to a safer position, but that was not the play to make there at all, especially with that nitro cell up. Granted, he doesn't know that, but even with that being not known, you repositioning there makes it much easier for him to, number one, know where you are. Number two, he could have peeked and just melted you with the SMG-11 anyways. I would have rather have seen him try to rotate towards daycare rather than anywhere else. I mean, they knew where he was moving through. They knew that he was more than likely going to come through initiation. Just a very weird adjustment there from Super.
with some success, finally starting to build up for Tempo. They're going to feel the confidence to go back down into Throne Room here for round number 4. So far, only 2 sites have been played here by Tempo, this one. And of course, the bunks upstairs, which we just saw 2 previous rounds on. Now they'll rotate back to their first round and see if they can reclaim that one. We're going to a third and final site on the triangle before things start to reset.
Well, last time the site didn't work out too well for him. It looked good early on, though. They burnt a lot of utility, but the issue is that, again, they're still not bringing anything to prevent these walls, and this is one of the sites where you want to keep these walls locked down. I feel like I almost have to have a conversation with Tempo or someone that apparently knows this game better than me, because why would you not want these walls closed? I don't get it. I don't. I'm gonna be completely blunt. I have no idea.
Maybe they're thinking it's just too much to handle or something like that. Maybe it's going to lock them down too much if they try to commit too many resources to it. That would be the reasons I would think they'd try to shy away from it, because they're obviously playing pretty heavily on the roam game right now, and you can see just how much they're spread out, keeping only Sloppy and Crazy in sight. Everybody else is just completely detached from that site across the map right now.
That's very true. As well as you can take the top of yellow very easily inside a waiting room and just shoot the bandits or mutes off or what have you. But I mean, besides that, that's the easiest area inside the map to gain access to. That's usually why teams prefer to go yellow, but we'll see how this transpires. Anyways, jumping into round 4 now between these two. Currently a 2-1 scoreline in favor of the Soniqs after that ace from Crazy. Have a pretty good scoreline across the entire board for the Soniqs as well, but easily finally going to get taken down early. This is going to be his first early death here for the Soniqs, and that's a very big deal. That's the Nomad gone, no more air jabs, and he got killed outside as well, so didn't even have a chance to put them down.
I wondered if he got killed mid-hop and then kicked him back out, or if it was just the position that sent him out the window, because I've seen that happen before too. But either way, man, that's a good arm on that C4. Get some distance on it for certain, and it's certainly making the rest of Soniqs have some second thoughts about pushing back in to try and take down that wall. Minute and 20 seconds remain on the clock here for Soniqs to at least start planting the diffuser. At the moment, no one from Tempo has even taken any damage, although they have compressed a couple of them into some awkward spots, which they're currently trying to work their way out of. You know, Arcade side still totally under Tempo's control, so they can very easily rotate back, but we can see Iconic looking to try and hunt down at least one of these players, if not more, to open up that option for his team.
Yeah, sub-minute now is Tempo Storm looking a lot more like Tempo Storm on this defense. We see a lot of rotation coming from these roamers, more than likely trying to fight back towards site, or they could possibly go for a rotate since those air jabs have been dealt with. No Nomad, but now Soniqs warming up those drones, finding intel on site. They see Mark and they see Sloppy. Mark playing behind the shield inside of Split, one inside of Throne Room. Be sure not to kill each other, boys. Those guns can definitely do some damage, and Sloppy's going to find out exactly why. Bullet to the brain takes care of him. We're on equal footing here going into the last 20 seconds.
Comfy with a great opener. Rest of the team, though, still hunting here. Mark waiting for his timing to try and swing back in through Connector. Gomfy, though, will take out Crazy before he gets the chance. Mark also going to go down without any response to it. Oh, I scratched that. He does end up going onto the ground and does get finished off by Gomfy, but immediate trades come in from Creators. Dream also picking up another one. Creators will make it a triple as he eliminates Iconic, and although we do see a diffuser go down onto the ground, it's not going to lead to a round 1. Tempo still have plenty of time to get the counter diffuse, and we'll see them pick up round number 4, tying us up at 2-2.
I see what Tempo's doing now with this setup, allowing them to get that wall and then playing back with your utility towards Split with a shield, making it to where it's more of a anchor type setup, and they just play off of the aggressive players trying to get those entry kills off of the wall. I like their idea behind it, but the thing is that it truly only worked this time because of the early kill onto Easily. Getting rid of that roaming utility to where you can actually rotate makes it a lot easier for, you know, Creators and Mark to do their jobs. So as long as they're able to continuously get these picks, which I don't really see happening, they're more than likely going to get rounds working like this.
From what we saw, they had a lot of extra security in that round too, due to not being pinched from both sides of top. I'm uncertain if they had that same sort of thing working for them in the first round, but based on their movements, I would say no. They seem to be a lot more heavily restricted back in the first round, where we didn't see that be as much of an issue due to Arcade being left open the entire time for the defenders.
Okay, well, headed upstairs to Office and Initiation. So we'll see if they make some rotates back towards Bunk and Daycare, if they're going to hold it similarly to how they held Bunk Daycare. They are going to have a rotate for Yellow and one for the Yellow Balcony as well. So things are falling in line. as to how they were doing things, well, the last time. Gonna have quite a few shields, though, and that's something to notate. Dream gonna be on the Goyo. Something we've seen a little bit less of, but he's still played quite often, now that he only has 2 shields. So 3 shields, that'll make it after we have Sloppy put down his as well. So plenty of utility to play off of here, those makeshift mirror windows, basically, for the defense.
Packers got to play a little bit of a Goyo shell game now, too, making sure that they actually destroy the ones that are Goyo charges. Do that 3rd shield, throwing them off a little bit there. But it shouldn't be too much of a distraction with the pro players knowing how to drone and all that. We shouldn't expect too much of an issue in that department. Tempo, in the meantime, just doing some last-minute rotating here as they're going to pop open that hole. Got Mark with a tiny little hole to try and work through here. If the pressure should align itself to that point, but we'll follow that up in the next moment or two once we start to see Soniqs get a little bit more map control for themselves. They're taking a very passive start as well, focusing almost entirely on an east push from what I can see. The moment working itself in from Dragon.
Well, as the info game comes in from the Soniqs, it's been more the same, as you were just saying, Blue. We're starting from the east, we're working west. Again, if your clear's working out for you, don't change it. Right now it's 2-2 on the offensive side of Theme Park. I think that's some of the best that you can do, especially since this map seems to be defensive sided from what I've seen. So drones pouring into control now, looking for some intel inside of initiation. Soniqs have done a pretty dang good job of getting these early picks, but last time just a little bit of a slip up here. But now that things are moving a touch slower, we're not going to have that same pick on easily. And he's already used quite a bit of his utility as well. 2 air jabs already down, only has 1 inside of his pocket.
I was wondering if Creators had a lineup there for a second. Even now, it's still a little bit hard to tell. It looked like he had himself lined up with at least 1 player for a good 5 seconds before he even realized it. When that player moved, and he then went for the spray. Bit of a battle between control and initiation. No wall opening yet, though, so it's a massive choke point. Soniqs should not be able to easily get through that doorway without some form of utility if they are going to try and force the issue. We'll hold on to that and wait. As you can see, J9 putting a lot of pressure onto the connector between the 2 sites. The Zofia breaking down the soft wall, however, he also has not been able to find anything just yet. Oh no, the Nitro Cell is going to come out. That's going to destroy the charge on the door, and another one from Dream as well. I'm pretty sure that one also destroyed the thermite charge and denies not only the wall, but the player trying to put the breach on the wall in the first place.
Love him or hate him, you got to feel bad for him right there. Double Nitro Cell. The first one didn't even do any damage to Super, but it still got the exothermic charge. Extremely unlucky, but that's just somehow well, sometimes how the cookie crumbles. J9 trying to find a different angle now. Sees a Goyo. That's Dream. Hasn't been caught from a separate angle, though. It's Creators to get a kill onto Iconic. So get that Ash out of here. Doing a better job after that ace. Crazy. Bringing it back to his team now. Hasn't gotten a kill just yet inside of this round, but Soniqs have to push and Tempo Storm bring it back with a flawless round after the previous round being an ace. It seems that Tempo's finally come back alive.
The Nitro Cell has been like the killer of entry kills here for the Soniqs. That's 2 rounds in a row now, I think, where they've lost the first kill of the round to a Nitro Cell, or at least lost their first initiation as a result of trying to get that onto the ground. 3-2, Tempo now takes the lead away from the Soniqs. Creators leading the charge currently at 6-3. Gomphy doing the same for his team on the losing end of the moment at 5-4. No one really running away on the individual kill department there, but we definitely are showing some signs of a few leaders.
Casting this map for the first time is making me figure, or see at least, that this map is actually played very horizontally when people are upstairs. You don't see a lot of verticality from underneath. No broken up flooring. Nothing really for like waiting room or the office area specifically on that site. But I think that's something that's more than likely going to happen in the future. I want to see how teams kind of express themselves throughout this map, especially with this map being relatively new as well as Oregon. There's a lot on teams' plates right now to, innovate and try and find something that another team isn't using. Plenty of stuff still to be found, I'm sure, as well as just Theme Park in general is a very weird map. If you guys weren't playing the game when the old Theme Park was in, it used to have a massive train in the center, and they basically surgically removed that and then slapped the map into each other on both sides. And that's how we now have the new Theme Park. Obviously, there's a couple of new rooms, but that's basically about it. And what's happened with that is the waiting room area specifically is kind of a difficult area to play around of just because of the audio cues. As you guys can see, as Cyan, our very nice spectator here, goes over the waiting room, you can see those little gaps inside of the top of Dragon where the stairs are. And that makes for some very, very awkward audio around this area because you can actually hear people downstairs, upstairs on the balcony, top Dragon. There's a lot of weird things that can happen around here, and if you don't know exactly how the audio is traveling, sometimes you think you're fighting ghosts.
Already 30 seconds into the sixth round here, in the last round for each team at the start of the half here. We'll be switching sides after this one. Soniqs, once again, a lot of the same notes here. See, there's very little pressure on the west side of the building, almost entirely focused on the Dragon cache and control rooms to start for their initial take here. So we're going to see a little bit more drone action being worked too. Still plenty of time to do that. We should expect them to kind of stay in this mode for the next 30 seconds or so, time permitting, and but a few circumstances also up in the air for that one. But easily is going to go down. It looks like Crazy managed to knock him down, although we'll get final confirmation on that in a second if he's finished off. Heard a shotgun blast and saw him go down a second later. Sloppy is going to be the one to finish off easily, but J9 will be there. Kind of baits his down teammate a little bit, but it works out at least to get the trade and keep it at an even 4v4.
If you're Tempo Storm, though, you'll take that trade any day of the week. Get easily off the board. You don't want someone that can play make like he was earlier on alive, especially with that air jab utility, but as you guys can see, it's already down. That's one of the primary things for Easily to do right when he gets into the map. Use that air jab utility, because if he does die, then they already have it down. You don't want to do it at a later date. So Tempo Storm, though, in the driver's seat on this round. Only a minute and 10 seconds remain, but still a decent amount of utility on the defense. Iconic still has smoke grenades, and we still have one stun on Super, so we can at least burn out some utility here. Try and get some pressure, but for Tempo Storm, they're still holding all the way up to waiting room, which is a very, very good spot to have. They're fighting off the storm of the Soniqs right now as they try and barrel their way into office. Iconic with the first entry frag finally, as Dream will fall off. That's going to be the Valkyrie. No more Nitro Cell. Man count going towards the Soniqs right now as they continuously barrel down onto waiting room. Still have initiation though, and it's going to be Crazy and Creators playing around that area, but it's going to be a quick trade in between two. Still need to get a diffuser down though. Only 25 seconds remain. Need a Jackal track though, so get some utility use out of Iconic, but doesn't even matter, don't even need it, as Super actually gets paid back in dividends, and it's Iconic to capitalize. Soniqs splitting evenly right now.
Super with a great aggressive kill there towards the end, and I think that was the key factor there. A lot of aggressive pickups coming in for the Soniqs, allowing them to work their take a lot more efficiently. It seemed like Tempo was a little bit lost with regards to the strategy, despite the repetitiveness of it from previous rounds, as we saw a couple players from Tempo, again, trying to do that aggressive swinging mainly for info, but kind of doing it in just seemingly like random spots and pre-firing. I at least saw that at least once or twice in the midst of the round. So I don't know if that was just happenstance or if they were truly trying to figure out if players were there or not, but things seemed a little bit up in the air for Tempo on that round specifically.
I mean, that was just a weird round in general. I mean, even when it came down to all the frags, it was very awkward. It seemed like there was no moment of, okay, this is the true execute. It was kind of like, you know, on a drip feed. Okay, here's a kill. All right, you got some utility. Okay, we're gonna kill this guy. Okay, you took some of our utility. It was more of a trade game that spanned across a minute and a half than it truly was, okay, we're gonna execute on the site.
I think Soniqs did a really good job of making the timing of everything like really awkward for Tempo in that round, and it led to quite a few situations where Soniqs would just engage and have the outright.
It made it so awkward. It made it awkward for me. I like casting that. I was like, okay, you guys gonna kill somebody, or like what's going on here?
Like they pushed at weird times, and I think that threw Tempo off a little bit. Basically,
if you can throw off the commentator, it's got to work on the other team, right?
Yeah. Either way, it's going to lead to an even game, exactly what we expected to come out of this matchup, a 3-3 scoreline between both teams. Soniqs now jump onto the defense, and it's looking like they're going to start out with another thrown round, same as Tempo did. Tempo, of course, now on the attack. Let's see what they can bring to the table. But the same limitations that Soniqs had to deal with. Remember, we've got that death combo at the moment in the bans. Maverick and Thatcher are out, so trying to take down any hard breach or hard reinforced walls is going to be a very difficult task for the attackers on this matchup.
Okay, well, this is where we separate the men from the boys here, John, and it's It's going to be all in the entry fraggers to get this done. As we saw from the Soniqs on their offensive side, it was a very slow beginning. We didn't have too many early kills or early aggression. It was a lot of utility exchange and attempt to go for an execute on site. And that's how we got here, a 3-3 split. But this does work into the Soniqs' favor here on Theme Park, is, again, this does tend to trend towards the defense, and it definitely should after those offensive bans that we saw being the Thatcher and the Mav. But again, this is going to be all on those entry fraggers from Tempo to make this work. Specifically Sloppy, I want to see how he can possibly shape this match. He's starting off 3-1-5 right now, so he's negative, but as we've seen from prior games, specifically last week, Sloppy is no one to be slept on.
A lot of drone presence working its way in here early, clearing out cache along with strong area. We'll still see quite a bit of defense being put up here, however. Tempo will get control of those initial areas despite that. Just flash dumping everything over that wall to start off the push into maintenance here for Tempo. Looking to possibly get a quick wall opening if the option is going to present itself, but at the same time, being very, very cognizant of a potential nitro so that we could toss to the other side here. Nade's going to work its way in. That will take care of the breach. However, did we see the electrical go onto the wall in time? No, we did not. It is still going to stay there, however, after the explosion, so they can't get a second breach, but that won't matter much at this point. The wall is already open.
Easily has got to be fuming after that one. It turned on right after the wall exploded. Very, very unfortunate. But as we saw, there was a full utility dump over that wall. We're out of grenades. We're out of stuns on two separate operators, but it doesn't matter. Gomfi's looking for blood. Upstairs with J9 in tow. Iconic picks up another one as well. So this offense of Tempo getting picked apart on almost every front. Iconic's just walking around giving people the business with the SMG-11. And it's all down to Crazy and Sloppy to try and get something done. They blow the wall for barrels. His Super will tell that to the rest of his team, so we should see some rotation here from the Soniqs upstairs, or either more, or even more on a horizontal level. So make sure you guys are paying attention to those silhouettes and where they're going to try and move.
Well, they've got the potential for a pinch here now if they wanted to try and go in from the separate angles. Unfortunately, they lost control of maintenance, so trying to push in there was not an option. Despite that, still making a little bit of impact here, as I believe they picked up 2 kills before the round closed out. And Soniqs was able to trade those back into their favor to finish things off. That round serves as a great example as why you absolutely still need to clear the top floor against that site. It wasn't really done that well by Tempo, and Soniqs' players upstairs just completely collapsed and killed that take before it even really got started.
All right, I'm going to have to question it again. I don't know how we have a Mav Thatcher ban and we can't keep a wall closed, like, ever. Like, I don't, like listen, guys, I realize I'm a commentator and, like, I'm nowhere near a professional player inside of skill, okay? But I don't know why the walls aren't staying closed. Like, we're even bringing utility now to keep the walls closed. The walls aren't staying closed. This is just very unfortunate for both of these teams, because that's exactly what these offensive bans are set up for, is, hey, very strong defense. You can't get a wall open. It should be damn near impossible for anyone to even do any sort of hard breaching, but we've seen it every single round.
If I had to guess as to why that's happening, I would say that on this map, the players that have to commit themselves to either like a bandit, Cade, or mute role to deny that, I think that those players have to be a lot more mobile on this map in that sort of a situation and potentially defend other areas on the map besides just that wall, compared to some of the other sites on other maps where we see those operators become useful for wall denial, and they can, for the most part, just kind of hang around that wall the entire round. I think that this map demands a little bit more out of the players that are on Cade, Bandit, and those similar operators compared to other maps where we've seen it used quite a bit.
Well, traditionally speaking, when you're talking about this map, what you want to see for that Armory Throne Room, if we're just going to use that for example, is when you have that Mav Thatcher ban, Mute Kaid work out great, because Mute can play towards, usually have Mute play towards like the throne area, and then have Kaid play over towards yellow, because he can play the pillar where they can't actually directly shoot above him and kill him, which is really nice. He can throw those electro claws out towards yellow, or even if Mute needs some help on a separate end of the map, he can actually chuck them all the way to the back of throne room. So it works out pretty well. J9 seems to be pretty happy about his situation at the top of Dragon.
Hi, J9. I like your
Pog,
art.
J9, Pog.
I want to say that.
We get a Pog in chat for J9.
Your bullet hole.
That's the next thing up. When the defense is too good, we just make bullet art in sight. That's all we do.
I'm artiste. We'll see the rest of Tempo get ready to start taking some control here soon. assume so anyway. Things have slowed up a little bit. They dumped a few of their flashes, but as you can see, there's quite a bit of an active resistance here from the Soniqs, especially at top Dragon. J9 waiting right by the overhang on the staircase, and a few other players hanging out around cash and control too. So it's a little bit too much for Tempo. They're going to decide that it's actually just straight up not worth it to push towards Dragon and completely flip the strat and try to work their way in from Cafe side instead.
I know we talked about it quite a bit last week, but again, I'm really enjoying the amount of pulse play we've been seeing recently. I never really understood why he got worked out of meta. Again, the ump is a bad gun. I will completely give you that. But having wall hacks at your disposal, just with a second warm-up time to take out a little box and open it, I mean, what's there not to like about the operator? You know what I mean? Especially on maps like this, where there's so much area to work around the entire map and do things like this, like free kills for Iconic. If you can just click the button, Iconic. There you go. Sloppy and Crazy both fall. Just got to make sure to click the key. That's all you got to do. Dream, though, follows it up on a kill with a kill onto Gomfy, as the Soniqs doing a very good job of fighting this from the defense. Already have 3 kills in the span of 5 seconds here. Only 45 seconds remain for Tempo to try and get something to happen, but Super with the ump takes down Mark. It's up to Dream now with that C7E, and Jackal working his way in from top area of yellow over towards waiting room. Walks in now, checks to his left. Does have a target inside of initiation, but he's behind a hard wall, and it's Super with a swing and a hit. And the Soniqs claim round 8.
Yeah, not a lot that Dream can do in that final situation for the 1vx there. Pretty much had a losing angle no matter where he peaked from, and even was double peaked at the end of it. Would have been very impressive to see him work himself out of that situation, let alone the rest of the round. At the moment, Soniqs just seem to have a very solid read on Tempo's attacking strategy. Not only that, but in at least that last round, seeing them directly contest the entry angles as they were trying to go for the inside push at the top Dragon outside balcony. Never really able to get a commitment from there because of J9's position, along with the presence of a few other players close by. At the moment, Soniqs doing a really good job of just giving Tempo 0 options for building and overall map control, which has forced them into that last-minute switch-up they did last round, which even that got red due to the pulse play being used downstairs, and that was never canceled the entire time.
Yeah, very unfortunate for them. But, well, getting into the next round now. Headed to Lab and Drug. I can't remember the exact name of this one. It's Lab, and I always call it Billiards for B because it's got a billiards table. I don't know.
I call it billiards. I think it's not storage.
I don't know, but there's a lot of flour in that room. A lot of flour. They must be baking a lot of cookies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sugar cookies.
Yeah,
right?
dude, there's some really good cookies. I don't know what they put in them, but hey.
10 seconds left before insertion.
I just can't stop eating them. I don't know.
Right.
Anyways, bringing it back to business. If you've noticed, there's 2 things that from last week are completely different. Super and Crazy are topping the scoreboards for their respective teams. I just want to know what they could possibly do if they were on the same team. It seems that when they're in the same room or even fighting against each other, they play their absolute best. So I think that they should just team up and then they'll just top the scoreboard together.
It's the grudge match factor. That's what
It'll be the greatest duo to ever live. First they started off as enemies, and then now they're friends. It's kind of like Zuko in the Avatar. It takes all the way to season 3 for him to actually do anything positive.
The ultimate redemption arc. But whose redemption is it? That's the true question.
It's got to be Super's, right? Because he went from Mr. 1.6 to just IGL of like the Soniqs. Not saying that's a bad thing at all, because he's been doing very, very well for himself. But just KD wise, I guess it's went down. But I still think that Super's a very good player inside of NA. So.
All right, guys. Minute off the round clock already. I'm sure that you're yelling at us to get back the cast in the game, so we'll do it. Not a whole lot going on in this first round, of course. Just extra droning for the most part being thrown out by Tempo. And if you'll notice, a much more passive opener here overall, trying to, for the most part, avoiding the Sonic setup. We are going to see Sloppy, along with Dream, grouping up and getting some good control over towards Office and Initiation, along with a connector in between it, towards Waiting. But now we need to see them push it onto the site. And this is where issues have always started to surface with the attack, based on the few rounds we've seen so far. Soniqs, like I said, seem to be taking a much more passive note onto this one. Let's see an attempt to open the wall from Initiation. However, I do believe it's mute jammed. There we go. That'll take care of that.
Dream just walks in and shoots the mute jammer. Nothing happens to him, literally at all. They're like, hey, we can't get this wall open. Could you please get rid of this for us? He's like, yeah, sure. I'll just walk in and do it. No one's gonna stop me. And that's exactly what happens. Not a single soul from the Soniqs there to stop him from doing anything. But finally, Iconic gets discovered, but immediately refragged after Sloppy's already rotated through bunk. So they now have control of Arcade, but are they aware of the Soniqs member playing inside of Cafe? It seems that they are. There's barbed wire, triple ADS setup. This is something that we saw in the earlier matchup where, well, I'm just going to stop what I'm saying because J9's already dead, but it was a very similar thing to what we saw earlier. But Tempo all over this round, already having 3 kills. Only 40 seconds remain, though. Still need to attempt to get a plant down here or kill the rest of the Susquehanna Sonics squad. Now vertical play coming in, so easily going to have to be concerned about that, but he's been droned out inside of B. Now know that he's in there towards the left. Stun grenades going to full white him. No one hopping just yet. Super trying to bring things back to equal. Easily, quite a bit of damage done as well.
Super, in my opinion, an incredibly pivotal part to the victory here, being able to get that kill from back Arcade. Went unnoticed for a long time. Oh, Creators on the hop-in gets a double for himself as he eliminates easily. That's his second on the round. Super gonna try and stop this, maybe win it on timer. Catches one trying to deploy utility, gets shot back by that very same utility and caught mid-reload. Crazy will take him out in a very crazy round, and Tempo will take number 9.
This may be the most unfortunate game I've ever seen Super play in my life. Almost every single time this man gets to a kill, something drastic happens, and it just prevents him from doing what he wants to do.
He did basically everything.
He almost killed him.
Just to make it perfectly clear.
The flick was
the only thing better he could have done was potentially try to real quick flick and take out that air jab. But even he probably had reason to believe it might have been further back and might not have triggered against him. So I don't even really want to fault him for not doing that.
Nah, man, you got to win those. What do you mean? Air jab? I just shoot through air jabs. It's fine. Easily going to 6-pick off the Kaid, though, over to the Valkyrie. We're headed back downstairs to Armory Throne. So they will bring the mute, so they are going to have a little bit of wall denial. This is something that we did not see happen when when Tempo was on defense. So hopefully we can hold on to these walls a little bit longer than a minute and a half.
See a Cali pick being brought in here by Creators on the 6th pick, so that's obviously going to be, for those who may not be very well aware of that, that'll be like a light version of Thatcher, who's currently banned out from this matchup. So Creators will bring that back into the pool and hopefully make getting down some of the reinforced walls a little bit easier on this round, especially since we are going back to Throne, which obviously has a lot of those reinforced walls to deal with.
Okay, well, hopefully the Sonics roam game working out for them again. Been working out thus far, the gun's coming alive, but Tempo finally fighting fire with fire. So in between these two, it seems like the rounds stay the same between the two teams. If people start dying to utility, every death is almost to utility. If somebody dies to gunfire, the rest of the round is everyone dying to gunfire. They seem to be a lot more the same than they are different, to be completely honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that as well, based on what we're seeing so far. Sonics maybe just a little bit more well-trained with their aggressive tendencies on defense. That's one area where I definitely see them excel a little bit more in this matchup. Other than that, stylistically, these two teams ring a lot of the same bells. Starting out here on the 10th round, once again, things are going to start very quietly as Tempo just takes some top control, opens up the free roof hatches. A few players are grouping up to start a push towards Dragon Steps. You can see Creators and Dream, in fact, already in the building. Sloppy will be joining them in a moment as well. And it's looking like, similarly to how we saw a lot of Sonics clears go, Tempo is also going to try to go east to west here, to try and knock out the top defenders before they then push the site, as that was their fatal flaw in the previous attempt on this site.
They had a very good roam clear the last time as well, and it seems that they already have office control, so those reinforcements basically going to waste. I mean, it's only a minute and a half in. Sonics really never seemed to even want to hold down waiting or office anyways. It was more of a shell setup. They do have to worry about the rotate now, though, from the top of yellow.
A little bit of noise being made there by J9 as he also opens up a rotate for himself. Not going to get anyone peeking out against him from that. Although a stun charge sent in the general direction of at least one of the players from the Sonics is hiding over towards Break Room. Another nade goes in against J9's position, and we can see Dream swinging to try and find the kill. J9's already rotated into the next room, though, so he's going to miss him. Gomfi also will work his way out onto the arcade hallway. leaving a little bit more defensive room here as the Sonics are slowly getting pushed back, but ultimately still finding the kills. Comfy, J9, all picking up frags. In fact, between the two of them, they get 4 all together, leaving it just on Creators with the Cali to clutch 1v5.
I'm telling you, John, this J9 kid has the stuff. He's got the gas, and it's working out for him. That's a triple for him in the span of 1 magazine. Some beautiful kills, but now it's all up to Creators. That sniper could come in handy. What a spray transfer from Creators. Sees Iconic out of the corner of his eye, rips his head off for him. See if he's aware of the next one. He is. Takes down Gomfy. The secondary SMG works so well with Kali's kit. If you guys haven't been playing the game for a little while, Kali actually just had this added to her. It's actually the same gun that Clash uses as her secondary. So if you've used her and used it before, you know exactly what it's for. 10 seconds remain now. Sniper out. Knows where the vigil is, looking for the shot, but with very, very low time, doesn't have much. He'll be able to clean up his own kill, transfers, but it's all going to be a participation trophy. Creators gets 3 kills for his leisure, but it doesn't mean much.
Creators just stat padding a little bit there at the end of the round as he tries his best to get into the site, but it just is not going to pan out at the end of the day. Heading into round number 11 here, it'll take us on to our first match point for the Sonics. They've got 2 of these before we end up in a tie situation and overtime to determine the winner of only map number 1. That's the other important factor, folks. Only map number 1 of this series before we move on to the second map on Clubhouse.
Yeah, we're not like Europe. We play a best of 3, you know? We do the full thing.
So that's what those 2 little notches are next to the teams on top.
Yeah, that's why you like us. You like NA. Remember that. This can somebody please?
We don't need to start that.
Can somebody please put a big twirly on the screen? This is actually all brainwashing. That's what this is. It's full on North America all the time. But actually, speaking of Europe, the games today were pretty interesting. Vitality won their first game. Commentary has been great. I've been loving watching Europe, honestly, John. Have you been watching any of it?
I was asleep today.
Oh, so okay, all right. Well, Jess and Gio got to cast together. It went really, really well, actually.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that tweet.
Cool.
I saw that tweet. I think it was from Jess.
It was very, very cool.
That was very cool to see that happen in Tier 1 esports. Hopefully we get to see that more over the next couple weeks.
Yeah, hopefully so.
Gonna be jumping into a bunk round here for the next one on Sonics as they try to close out the map here. Dream, of course, already figuring that out. I was gonna get a nice little pre-placed drone onto the inside of break room and hopefully be able to use that here. But as you can see, the Sonics are setting up a massive amount of defense over here towards Cash to try and prevent a push from Dragon yet again, as that's been the go-to for both of these teams' attacking sides so far. And it seems to be the case again here for Tempo with 4 people spawning on that side.
The harsh thing is like, I really don't even want to point this out, but the main difference between these 2 squads on their defensive setups is simply the Sonics are bringing wall denial and Tempo didn't. That's it. That's really it. Their setups are quite similar. The only difference is we're seeing a lot more mutes, a lot more utility based on walls, and it's working out for the Sonics. They're able to hold down sight a lot longer. This is actually a little interesting here. We're going to have Super playing inside of Cash with a deployable and all of the Wamais that he can possibly muster. Very aggressive take and a Nitro Cell outside onto the soft destruction. That's it's quite interesting. Haven't seen that one just yet.
Almost hit too, just probably a couple inches off from being able to do damage to Sloppy there. Sloppy took damage from Super's peek that happened a few seconds ago. Now because of that peek, they know he's actively defending this, whereas before they would have only been able to get that from a drone. Flash was sent in against him. Is he going to be ready for the push to come his way? Well, the push isn't even happening yet. He's going to try and swing out once again. In fact, even dashes back to the inside of the showers and makes it out of that very, very tough situation that could have very easily led to his death had he stuck around for a few more seconds.
Well, slow and steady usually wins the race, but for Tempo right now, it's slow, and by slow, I mean a halt. They're really not moving. They finally got Super out, but somehow Super escaped, made a grand escape from inside of Cash. I do believe there's a hatch in that corner, so he more than likely just escaped through that. But again, the map being recently updated and me being bad at the video game, be hard to discover. That hatch is actually reinforced. So I was right about the hatch, but wrong about the escape.
He mad dashed through showers. Yeah, he mad dashed through the showers to get out of there and rotated back over top yellow.
Did the dash, I see. Okay, well, Tempo now understanding what's going on inside of the round, getting some intel, and that's very, very pivotal. That's exactly what they need to do, get some more intel here. But the issue is now is since they allowed Super to leave, it's a 5v5 in a sub-minute here, which is not where you want to be if you're on the offense. Very, very damaging to them, and quite a bit of damage done to them in general. Mark and Sloppy specifically taking quite a licking, so see how this goes now.
Tempo Storm taking a couple chips of damage here and there, but so far unable to return it onto their opponents. Garmpy also still playing aggressively on the inside of Initiation, and mind you, there's only 28 seconds left on the clock. Tempo has a lot of work to do and not a lot of time to do it here. This could be the end of their run on this map. Still dealing with this Initiation player. Sloppy is finally going to get things started for his team with the first kill in the round against J9. Another player will fall from Tempo, though. His Dream gets knocked out by Iconic. He's got a great lineup to immediately punish these players should they try to push in from Yellow Hall, and like just like that, man, they're going to fall like dominoes easily, super easily again, all picking up frags at the end here. Ultimately, to close out on the first map on the series here. Took some time. We were seeing rounds traded out back and forth, but for the defensive end of things, Soniqs take full control and win the map 7-4.
And Super saying good half, nice clutch, Crazy. Just to let him know, you know, you did something really nice, but it was kind of out of reach.
Absolutely. Still, though, I think we're getting the match we expect out of this one. Really, really close for the most part. Tempo, I think, just needing to adjust their style in a couple areas here. I'm not sure if that was them not necessarily being too familiar with the map and being uncomfortable in a couple of areas, or whether that was just Soniqs being able to completely strat around them. But we'll get to see more on that in just a little bit. We're going to take a short break, though, folks, and when we come back, we'll have the analyst breaking down map number 1 and getting us ready for map number 2.
Welcome back, I'm Jackie Jing, and I'm with Veli and Jesse, and the Soniqs taking map 1 on Theme Park 7-4. Tempo kind of on their tail there, though, and real talk, Crazy's ace round 3, that was just absolutely wild, but not enough. Not enough, guys. What does TS need to do on this next map? Veli, I'm gonna start with you.
They need to win gunfights, 1v1s. They couldn't win them. It's not like Soniqs did anything special, right, Jesse? It was Soniqs. they had peak potential in every gunfight. And that's really all you have to say about them. Just face up checking, gunning them out. Man, they need to start a pot, especially Mark. Playing on Sledge like that, I'm going to have to expect more from a veteran like him.
Jesse, would you agree with that, or how are you feeling? What do you think that Tempo Storm needs to do better on map 2?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely winning the ones will help quite a bit. I think controlling the roam is going to be important. There was one round when they were attacking lab storage that Tempo Storm did a good job of controlling the roam of Soniqs, but you know, the other rounds, it was really just like the roamers running away with things, and that was really hard to watch if you're a Tempo Storm fan.
Yeah, and Belly, you were really keen in on the Soniqs roam as well.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not? There were strats where they would just have 2 people on site and everybody would be roaming, and it was insane. And we continuously talk about the new people on the roster. Iconic deserves it. Like, Iconic looked like Black Jesus out there. Wherever he roamed at, he was killing everybody in sight. He was winning all of his 1v1s. But not only that, but it was like the mini guys coming up from tier 2, tier 5. J90 was dogging him out. Easily started it off early, and it seemed like once the veteran set the pace and the tone, everyone else behind him followed along. But also, I would say the roam of the map went to Super. There is no way Super holds on behind Shield and Cash in a 1v3, 1v2, able to survive for about a minute, run through the bathroom out of sight untouched. That can't happen. Someone has to keep a sight on him at all times.
Yeah, Gomfy not playing too badly either, I would say. They're just coming together very nicely as a team. Jesse, I do know that while we were watching, though, you did call attention to Soniqs' pushing strategy. What stood out to you about that?
I mean, I think it was a difficult time pushing on the top floor for both teams. Soniqs really were just like, they would come from the east side, you know, they would enter into cache, they would push westward, whether it was attacking onto the bomb site of, you know, bunks, or whether you're going into office initiation. It was the same tack over and over and over again, and it seemed kind of one-dimensional from Soniqs, and it really just did lead to like 1v1s after 1v1s after 1v1s, because they just took those angles, and Tempo Storm were giving them a lot of those angles as well, which made it about a 50-50 split. You could tell that when they were attacking up on those upstairs bomb sites, it was, you know, 2 successes and 2 failures, so was it the end of the world for them? No, but I think those could have been improved a little bit. I think that Soniqs can look back at those rounds in particular and say like, all right, well, let's think up some new attacks if we end up in another, you know, time when we've got both Thatcher Maverick banned. What's some like more creative ways that we can go about taking these top floor bomb sites? But in general, I mean, obviously, as Veli was mentioned, Soniqs were winning their 1v1s, so it didn't matter, or it didn't hurt them too badly in the end.
Yes, Soniqs performing quite well. So are they going to do it in 2? Y'all think that's possible, or Tempo Storm, or are they gonna come back here? What do you guys think?
There's no comeback. Super's in the lead. Super even had a great game himself. I have to roll with the Susquehanna Soniqs. They won me over after map 1.
What about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna stick with my guns and say Tempo Storm are gonna bring it back in 3. But really, I mean, this is gonna be like really tough. If Iconic's playing the way he has been, that's a really tough battle for them to win.
What a man sticking
All right.
with his choice. I love it. Respect.
Love it too. And we do have our community poll results in. And the question was, who will improve more in their performance from last week? And Tempo only got 37%. Soniqs got 63%. And it looks like Soniqs are doing quite well. So y'all predicted right.
Gomfy.
All right, but yeah, Gomfy. Seriously. I mean, Soniqs are looking sharp right now. But will they be able to pull it off for map 2? Well, wait and find out. We'll be right back.
And hello there once again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the North American League. We are getting ready to jump into our second map of our second matchup of the evening between Tempo Storm and the Soniqs. Our first map just finished playing off over on Theme Park, and we're now getting ready to jump into Clubhouse for our second map. This is where we saw the Soniqs falter last week in pretty hefty-handed fashion to Dark Zero. So the question is, so I'm not going to throw it over to Stokes, can we see them rebound from that performance and take a 2-0 versus Tempo Storm?
That's a really big question. We didn't see anything out of them during that DZ game. They actually only got one round, and it was on defense. So there was nothing really there to show, okay, the Soniqs can play Clubhouse right now. But again, we have those stand-ins in. Last week they had J9 and Lag standing in. This week
is, hold on, is someone playing like Euro Truck Simulator on the screen?
Yes,
there? Did you see that?
Yup. Yes, he is.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was crazy. Go ahead.
You know, that's how it goes. Sometimes you gotta, ship the win instead.
I just wanted to check on that real quick, but yeah, all right. So someone certainly found a way to relax in between games, it seems, but there's no time for relaxing, as it's time, ladies and gentlemen, to get into map number 2. It is Clubhouse. It is Tempo Storm versus the Soniqs. Soniqs currently sitting on match point. They win this one. It's all over, and they take the W and send Tempo lower and lower in this bracket. In fact, they'll knock them out for this stage.
By the way, I think that's Slevin playing Euro Truck Simulator. Yeah,
oh, is it?
He just, he was missing home a little bit, so he just wanted to drive around. I can't blame it at all.
Driving around the neighborhood.
Hey, I've done that. I've played games to go to like where I've like lived around before and hang out. It is really cool though when you know an area and they produce a game in like that section or that city or something like that. It's really, really cool to walk around and see parts of that area. Maverick and Habana band though. Ooh.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about the Habana Man. That one's interesting. A lot of people might raise some eyebrows at that one, but when you think about how much hatch play is involved with hard breaching on this map, it starts to make a little bit more sense, especially for basement defenses.
Yeah, well, if they could just bring Ace, everything would be fine.
Well, not for hatches.
Not for hatches. You got to use 2 of those. Not very fun. We're also going to get rid of Bandit as well. So Mutant Kaid on deck for wall denial. Mira removed. And then also remember, we're going to keep reminding you throughout these ban phases that Echo is also banned, folks. Remember that Echo is currently out because of an issue with his yokai drones. So we're not going to be seeing him for the foreseeable future. But for right now, we're just going to be seeing those bans go to more unique things, which has made the games a lot more fun, honestly, Blue. I've been really enjoying watching these with these newer bans. And honestly, we might be nearing that point in time where we do need to add that extra set of bans. We've seen a lot of people throw it around a bunch of different ideas, let them ban whatever they want. I even saw somebody talking about being able to ban some secondary utility as well, which personally speaking, the secondary utility one, I don't think that's the best because I would just ban impacts. Good luck. There you go. What are you going to do now? So you can't impact trick, have fun making rotates everywhere again. It's not a good time.
Stokes had just mentioned about them not picking Ace. Just to explain this concept really quickly, as I don't think anyone else has done so today. If you're a newer viewer to Pro Rainbow Six, but you happen to know of those operators, just note that the new operators are not playable in the patch that they are introduced. They usually will become available for pro play when the next set of operators gets added. Usually,
exactly. And that all happened because of a long time ago when Lion was a problem. Everyone said we should probably have a quarantine time, and everyone agreed and said yes, we absolutely should. So that's how that one happened. So there's some Rainbow Six Siege history for you guys, in case you were looking for that today. Well, now we're finally into the map. Active round, everyone's on the field. The Soniqs starting off downstairs, nothing too out of the ordinary. We are going to have Gomphy, though, on Vigil. It seems that he's going to be on a solo roam, possibly, but he could always just try and go for an early pick, then rotate back downstairs. That ER C7 backpack works out really, really well for him. That's his utility that hides him from drones, and it actually goes through floors. So if he rotates downstairs and turns the backpack on, it can seem like he's still upstairs, just like right now. As you guys can see, the drone's directly above him in the white waves or white bars of his utility actually get longer and longer, and once it's basically a full wave, you're near him, either on your level or directly above him. So that's the difficulty of trying to drone out Vigil.
You'll also see that on defender cams if you're playing against a knock. I think it's the same.
Knock actually doesn't have an effect. That's the beauty of her. Yeah, she has zero effect at all. I
thought on the drones, the only effect, if he was playing Mozzie, there would be
the only effect that she has, John, is if she steps through barbed wire or she sprints. If you are standing up and just walking forward with your W key and have her ability on, nothing happens to you. Absolutely nothing.
Right.
You can walk through
back what
anything.
I said
She's
then.
very sneaky.
I just sworn there was at least an effect from like Mozzie drones or something, but maybe I'm wrong.
It's a negative, sir. Either that or, Siege Twitter is about to attack me viciously. One of two things is about to happen.
I'm probably wrong, to be honest. I'll just withdraw my statement and move on. Well, we do have the bar hatch getting opened relatively quickly by Tempo. No actual movement to go downstairs yet. It's been a very quiet round for the most part. Sonics are playing their own defense incredibly close to the chest here, only really defending the basement itself, which means Tempo has had a lot of free control. But now, as they start to move downstairs, this is when things will begin to get a little bit more difficult, as they actually have to fight people.
They do indeed, my friend. They do indeed. So, here we go. Got the hatches open now, but we need to get some pressure either bottom main or somewhere else. Nothing really happening for Tempo right now. They do have dirt open by Iconics laying inside of dirt with that shotgun ready. Tempo needs to get some utility on site or get a pick or something. They got some intel. Gomfi working his way around downstairs inside of Armory. Some vertical play from Mark with that skeleton key, but he hasn't been able to find Gomfi just yet. They're both working the same angles. A lot of damage dealt to Gomfi now, but he cannot reciprocate it. Some impacts impact into AK, and the R4 actually, the AK working out for him as he blows through that single panel wall. Almost a very nice shot from J9, but not able to slip through the cracks. Creators popping off at the back of sight. It's a triple kill now, removing every head in the way. Doesn't even matter. Tempo Storm all over this round.
Tempo going to take great control, obviously after quite a bit of lead up to that explosion out onto the site that we eventually saw from them, but it's a great explosion as it directs itself entirely onto the bodies of the Sonics players to knock them out and claim the first round on attack side for Clubhouse 2. Typically a very difficult map to claim attacker-sided rounds on. I'll see if that's going to continue to be an easy thing for Tempo to claim, or if the Sonics will have better luck on other sites. They're going to rotate upstairs into CCTV and cache for this round. And interesting to note here, we do not see the Cade being brought in for attempts at denial. Obviously, Bandit is banned, so we won't see that. And they're going to bypass on the Cade.
This is a very strange round overall because it seemed that Tempo was all for naught. They had gotten all of the kitchen open, they got Moto open, but no picks on anybody. A little bit of damage onto the Vigil earlier on, but that was really about it. Gomfi was able to rotate away and play safely for at least a little bit longer. Really, that round was won off of the back of Creator's efforts and a little bit of creativity. Pushing right through Ash Rush, that single panel downstairs. It's called by a bunch of different names, but I'm old school and call it by the thing that I remember all the way from year one. So there you go. And that's exactly why it's called Ash Rush. You blow that single panel open, you push right into the back of Armory, and you massacre everyone. That's exactly what Creators did. Ended up being able to clean up the rest of the squad. Almost got a diffuser down in the process as well.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Well, we've got Tempo out on the board once again. Let's take a look and see what their opening strat's going to be. A couple people going to immediately probably work their way to the wall due to there only being a mute jammer on it. Got ourselves access to Thatcher here as well, so it should be very easy to take care of that and get the wall open for the benefit of our attacking squad here. It also explains why we don't see the Cade being brought in, trying to beat out a Thatcher Thermite combo with Cade tricking is very, very difficult, to say the least.
We could see some very creative angles used here. If you guys were paying attention, construction easily actually made some holes into the top of the stage wall to see into stock through that hatch in construction. So they do end up taking stock, then could see some very creative kills. So Sonics for right now waiting for Tempo and a very nice EMP from the offense. They don't have an IQ, but a lot of squads are running this setup now with an ADS placed for that shield in that specific corner for A and B. So very nice play from Tempo. Good utility use there to get rid of that shield.
Two minutes left here. Tempo still getting past that secondary drone phase for themselves here. Obviously, they've done a little bit of utility work and now a bit of kill work as Dream's been able to jump into construction, find himself the opening frag of the round against Easily. Does go for a little bit of free fire, into the inside of Cash, but won't find anything. And for the time being, goes on to a bit of a flank watch down that hatch while he waits for the rest of his teammates to get into position for the push.
It's been very weird to see as well. We've actually seen a lot of players going to pick up guns with more ammo capacity instead of just having overall better stats. The Para is a very, very good rifle, and it also has angled grip, but he has chosen to take over the LMG with that scope, having 100 rounds per magazine, gun is an absolute beast, but again, the para can outdo it in some situations. Gonna have some of those fire bolts used now towards the top of red. Gomfi gonna take quite a bit of damage, but he's able to make it away with his life. Could he step back into the fire? He can. It's not gonna down him. Instead, gets a nitro cell call, and now it's a 2-piece for the Sonic squad. Finally, Creators bringing it back just a touch, but man advantage still going towards the Sonics. Creators once again popping off in round 2. This is a double kill for him already. Can he make it 3? Can he go back-to-back hat tricks on rounds? Does have J9 at the top of red. Does it work? No. J9 with a very nice flick. Knows there's one there, but he aims too high. And Mark closes out round 2.
We're talking about how Sonics, for the most part, just kind of winning their fights on the last map to win a lot of rounds, and that seems to be almost what Tempo is accomplishing here. No resistance on the wall, so that part's easy. They waltz into construction, get themselves a first entry, and from that point forward, it's just kill after kill after kill, trading it back and forth the entire time, but still under Tempo's control throughout the rest of that round, similarly to how the first one played out. They win it out on those entries and take a second round.
It's really as simplistic as that, though. That's the thing, is that there's nothing there's nothing really there's no outlier where it's like you are clearly doing this wrong. Truly, the only thing that's happening is Tempo's winning their gunfights and the Sonics aren't. And it seems that right now Sonics are able to get that initial pick, but then Creators just does Creators things, walks in, kills everybody. And hey, I mean, how do you really fight that? The only way to truly do that would be to back off after you get that initial pick. Maybe the Sonics do need to play a little bit slower when it comes down to those times and rely a little bit more on utility. The troublesome thing is that they truly don't have any entry denial on this site. They're running the Wamai, Mute, Jaeger, Valkyrie, and Vigil. Usually when you're trying to slow somebody down, you want to see things like Ella, Smoke, even basically anything with barbed wire. There's a bunch of different operators on defense. We all know them and find them slightly annoying or love them depending on your play style. So it's strange that the Sonics aren't utilizing that just yet. I would really like to see a 6 pick off of maybe the Vigil or something along those lines to be able to help them out with that.
Red's going to take us into the next engagement here. Tempo out on the board once again. Sonics still reattempting the same site. A few last-minute arrangements being made in terms of prep here. Easily just popping open a couple holes with the shotty on that right side soft wall, leading into garage. As well, the cash one's the same. Similar reinforcements on the east wall leading out to balcony, so that should get taken care of very quickly by Tempo on this round. No reason why they wouldn't be able to just pop that right open again with the Asher Thermite combo.
Well, Tempo starting out on the top of the building. That's usually how Clubhouse goes, trying to get something off the wall, but the first EMP is actually going to fail as Easley's Mute Jammer stays there. Crazy, you should be able to hear it beep, but that's going to be a second EMP. Actually, that's all of Sloppy's EMPs gone now, and he actually double EMP'd there, and they didn't even have the Kaid this time. So that's all of his EMPs gone. Sloppy can't get rid of any of these ADSs. This is going to be a very good round for the Sonics if they're actually able to hold down the site this time.
Still with 2 minutes to work it, though. If Tempo realizes the setup, they will have plenty of time to circumnavigate around it and try to find solutions to get past it that don't involve the EMP grenades. A little bit of construction control is probably going to be the name of the game now for Tempo, and Sloppy will start it off with a drop into the inside of Logi. Try to move that around over the next few seconds, but of course he's going to wait for the drones to get their job done first. Now, interestingly, we've also got a reinforcement on the construction wall, so there's going to be no way to pop that open with the thermite here. And also, we've got a really big stack on red stairs at the moment from Sonics, trying to play a lot of their players into this for the denial of the push from the breach. But as you can see, no one from Tempo is actually planning to utilize that for their push, at least at this very moment.
Well, no frag grenades. We're not going to see possibly the best frag grenade of all time if it got tossed into the top of red. Well, we do still have one.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, right? Exactly. That's what I was thinking. But no EMPs to get rid of the ADSs either. And obviously still plenty of utility to go through. No ADS, so breaching rounds good to go to get rid of the barbed wire. And now they just need to make sure that they can get this double panel into cash. But it's actually going to get impact tricked. I bet you guys forgot about that one. The reverse Uno card coming out as they continue to slow down this offense for Tempo. All over construction, but Mark with yet another pick. The Sonics slowly getting taken away.
Again, just finding everything off of entries right now. Sonics' roamer is getting dealt with early on here. Another one easily going to try and possibly swing out, but he makes what's, in my opinion, the smart decision here and falls back to play for the actual site. The problem is the site push is coming in. Gomfi can easily pick up the first two. They're going to lose Super on the exchange, though. And right after that, Sloppy gets a second on to easily. Gomfi, now the last man between his team and a lost round. Also down incredibly low at right about 1 HP. Trying his best to come out of this 1v2. That Nitro Cell might ring true. No, it does not. It's a miss. Doesn't fully get the kill. Sloppy's going to try and put the diffuser on the ground. Gomfi also has his last other opponent waiting out just by the garage window. Diffuser goes onto the ground. Gomfi finds the first pickup. He already knows where the last player is. It's already a triple, and he completes the 1v4. Creators, the worst timing to peek into that, and Gomfi's just gifted the final kill. And of course, with plenty of time for this defuse, Soniqs are finally going to get onto the board.
In between a rock and a hard place in that 1v1 was Creators sitting on rafters. Peaked at the wrong time. What a pre-fire from Gomfi. And some good intel game as well, whether it be Evil Eye or camera inside a garage. Either way, it works out for him. The Soniqs able to find some bit of utility and a scrap of hope here as they find their first round on defense.
And that's unfortunately where the entry-centric wins that have been working out well for Tempo are going to fall to pieces when someone else matches your fragging potential. Down go all the dominoes of your hit in that specific round there. A great recovery by Gomfi to put Soniqs on the board. Now can they continue it? They're back onto the basement, where we've once again seen quite a few successes from Tempo here on their attack. If they can repeat that, it'll be more of the same at a potential 3-1 scoreline. Soniqs seem to have already learned from the previous rounds, though, so it might not necessarily be an easy one for Tempo.
Can't wait till we get to the cameras after the map, where we're gonna get to see the entire Soniqs room pop off after that clutch. Should be a pretty cool experience. I really like the Soniqs camera angle compared to everybody else, because they have the entire team. Everybody else has like one person. Soniqs full committed. Went for the entire desk setup. Very, very cool. Anyways, jumping now into round 4. Headed downstairs are the Soniqs. Exact same setup as they had last time, at least operator-wise, but we'll see if Gomfi's able to do anything on this roam early on. Last time he just stuck around main stairs and eventually walked downstairs, not before doing really anything. He kind of just showed face, saw a drone, rotated, and then had a gunfight through some vertical play. But it was really Tempo that was the men of the match there, or the men of the round at least, after rushing through that single panel. But as we can now see, it's been reinforced, and it's been reinforced for a reason.
All right, folks, well, Tempo out and about once again. We've got a lot of action working its way into Billiards Bar right now. Dream, first off, he's being supported by a drone over in Bathroom by Creators, and he himself gonna jump onto the gun here as his teammate, at least his drone, just got popped a couple seconds ago by Gomfi, who's already fallen way back downstairs on the main steps, and is looking at this point to try and see if he can find a pick against the player upstairs in Logistics. He spots him. He's getting actually no damage connecting. Very surprised by that. The bars look like they ate them up instead. And now Mark is going to just awkwardly back away from this one and try to see if he can find the response.
Yeah, this is where Siege gets to his peak, especially about angle holding. When you're going multiple floors through multiple sets of bars, it's very difficult to try and find your target. And as you notated, usually they end up getting eaten by those bars just because there's so many for you to shoot through. You kind of have to try and thread the needle. It's not as much skill as it is some luck. So J9, quite a bit of damage done to him. Super getting a disc back, so gonna have a little bit more utility to burn through for the offense. The question is now, though, where are they going to burst onto site? Because as we were talking about earlier, it was just the Ash Rush panel that they pushed through. Now they have to actually get entry frags onto site and more than likely attempt to get a diffuser down. It seems like they really want to go Church, since that's one of the panels on the triple wall for Church is soft.
Got ourselves the firebolts getting prepared here by Dream. One's going to go over the top. It does burn the other side out here. Easily forced to back away as a result of that, but Creator's not able to find the impact he was hoping for here, trying to swing back over towards main hall instead, and now easily is trying to peek to the inside of Moto there. Mark will find the first kill of the round, though, as he's able to eliminate Gomfi. Curious if it's through that tiny little hole that he had just past the breach. Either way, it's going to serve to work out here. We've got a soft wall on the right side of Church, which opens things up for Creators to push his way onto the inside. Mark now gets his second, puts the team into a 5v3 situation. J9O still sitting in the back of Arsenal here, kind of between a rock and a hard place, trying to find any impact that he can, but it's tough to do so. Iconic with the first trade back against the attacking roster right now. Super and J9O also find some picks here, bringing Tempo down to just 2. It's all on Crazy and Dream. We now have the diffuser onto the ground. Do they have the positioning necessary to fend off the retake? First player moves in. Super finds the opening kill, and J90 gets the second. It's going to be 2-2 as the Soniqs rally back and take control of the site away from Tempo.
Very strong clutch there from the Soniqs. Some good intel as well. That was helped them push that round a little bit farther, and amazing rotations to be able to support each other. So the Soniqs now tie things up. I assumed, honestly, after we got those 2 initial picks from Mark and Kitchen, that this round was going fully into Tempo's favor, that we were going to see a plant for Armory, but none of that came to fruition. It was a lot of the Soniqs fighting back after everyone, for the most part, got into an equal playing field downstairs. Gunfights ensued, and the Susquehanna Soniqs just winning it out when it mattered most.
A lot of these rounds coming down to the in-the-moment frags, and that last one was no exception, especially in the 2v2 post-plant. Saw some great entry work, especially from Mark, to get himself into the site and allow the team to get the plant onto the ground to begin with, but as far as I could tell, Tempo never really having the security to fully set themselves up in post-plant, left those 2 players in basically the best positions that they could get to at that point to try and win that one out. So Soniqs, great work keeping the pressure on in the midst of that round and disallowing Tempo to have the full security they needed to set up post-plant.
Well, we are going to have an operator that we haven't seen just yet between these two. Super picking up the clash. Very unique operator. It's a shield on defense, and she can delay quite a bit of time. And by quite a bit of time, I mean most of it. She's actually one of the most annoying operators on the defense when it comes to slowing down the offense. Her main ability is her CCE shield, which you guys can see on Super's back right now, and she actually zaps you and slows you down to almost a halt. You can move it, I don't even really know the percentage, but it's about 5% of your actual movement speed. It's not very fun, and we're more than likely going to be seeing a lot of that inside of Cash. She's usually paired with somebody inside of the room that she's set up in, just so you can use her as a makeshift Mira, or even a Monty where, you know, you ping their location, somebody swings off of you, gets a free kill. More than likely going to see a lot of that. And I like how they're going to utilize her in this setup. That plenty of ADSs down. They're playing Master and Waits, so holding down Cash is extremely important. Putting a Clash in here makes it just a little bit more easy.
Round already begun. We've got Crazy and Mark grouped together to potentially soft breach their way into the inside of security and try to push this Clash out of Cash. That's yet to be seen if they're going to follow it through here just yet. Mark actually rotates back downstairs into stock. If he's doing what I think he's doing, this could work pretty well. He's just got to figure out exactly where the Clash is from. He's going to be able to knock out the floor from below there, then could work out pretty good. And there we go. That's exactly what I thought was going to happen. Looking for the damage against Super, but so far only able to knock out half the HP. A little bit less successful than he was hoping for, but at the minimum, it should get the attackers control of Cash. Now they just need to push her out of construction.
Well, the good news is they ran the dock for more sustain, able to give some help to his teammates and help him out. Another ping, so almost dead from the floor, but it's actually death from above as Graders gets a kill from the hatch onto Easily. J9 follows up as well. Iconic in third, and all of a sudden the Soniqs have taken over round 5.
Super still delaying things from the inside of construction, cautiously falling back when it's necessary. His pacing's been pretty good with this so far, down to a little over a minute left here. So still plenty of time as far as the attackers are concerned. And finally, with the assistance of Zofia Charge, they are going to be able to take out Super and open up their path to the site. Like I said, still with over a minute left. So they dealt with that issue very, very quickly based on past rounds that we've seen with her in the past in similar positions. Creators, Crazy, and Sloppy are the 3 remaining for the attack to go up against 3 defenders here. This is the other problem of it is, while yes, they cleared out the Cache, that's only for the construction angle. They still have to clear out anything else they want to try to push towards main stairs. And at this point, forget balcony. There's no way they're going to be able to work that.
Yeah, and this is where things have gotten drastic between these two in the past. There's no utility to really hold them off anymore. It's going to be all down to the gunfights and what angles are held by the defense. Tempo has to try and get another entry frag here, but there's quite a few angles to worry about, specifically J9, but he's fried from Sloppy on the door with a nice pre-fire as they're trying to work their way in to get this diffuser down. Iconic follows up. That's a double kill for him on the round. Very nice shot. To follow that up, even now, diffuser on the ground. Sloppy has to win things out. He's transitioned himself behind the bathroom towards jacuzzi wall. Pops into bathroom now. Doesn't check his right angle, and it's Iconic sitting behind the metal sheet in the middle of the room. Iconic working his way throughout the entire bomb site like a ghost. You can't find him, but he's there when needed.
Perfect play by Iconic. That's the exact role he's meant to fit in on this team. If you guys listened to that preview video that played right before the series began, he was talking about how he's the man that can get into these clutch situations and come out on top, especially with confident plays. And that's exactly what we saw. Him taking an aggressive angle, lining himself up to stop those rotates from the attackers that were going to swing in and take control of the rest of the site. He single-handedly put a stop to that take where none of the rest of his teammates were able to do that.
Something I've always praised Iconic for isn't just his aim, because he has very, very good aim. His gun skill is fantastic, and his mechanical skill is really good. But his brain, when it comes to decision-making inside of those rounds, when to play slow, when to play fast, when not to peek, when to peek, that is what highlights Iconic's play. Because, sometimes he messes up. Everyone's human. But when it comes to rounds like that, where you don't even know where he's moving, and you're the one spectating the whole match, and he's getting these kills from a separate angle every single time, that is when that brain power comes in. It's not just the gun skill, it's those rotations and how he's able to make sure that the offense cannot keep a beat on him.
Things starting to look very promising for the Soniqs defense. Now they've rallied together for the final few rounds. This will be the final round of their defense, where they will try to make it a 4-2 scoreline. Tempo will once again try to go for a tied half at 3-3. That's what we saw back on our last map. And we could be on track for the same thing, but it's another upstairs attack. Tempo. We'll see once again how they're able to look for a win here. So far, they've only won one round against a basement and this site's attack. They, however, lost, I believe, the second attempt that happened a few rounds back.
All right, well, almost the exact same setup as they had the last time. And as we've seen from Tempo, they really, really like to take over stock with that Buck play. So we'll see if Mark's able to get any more kills from there. And Buck isn't an operator we've been seeing a lot of either, John. He's actually almost been completely worked out of the meta. It's not the fact that he doesn't have that he has a bad gun now or anything like that. It's simply because he lost his frag grenades. No one's been favoring him at all. They'd rather bring Sledge, but he does still have some uses as Gomfy rips the head off of creators repelled on plats. But those uses are few and far between when it comes to maps. It's more stuff like this where the verticality is from beneath, so you're going to need Buck because he's the only soft destruction truly that can abuse that how you want.
Yeah, before it was like the combo of the nades and the skeleton key where you could just walk into the room above the site, pop out a couple floorboards, and then just drop 2 nades into the site. That was so strong before, so that's why we saw him be so prevalent. And now that possible combination is gone, a lot of people are going, like you said, a lot of people are going to Sledge because they can still do relatively the same thing there.
Uh-oh. Mark might get rushed down here in stock. It's looking like a Hail Mary here from the defense. Gomfy and J9 working the angles. Mark with a misinformed peek gets taken down from the 416. And now Soniqs in the driver's seat after taking down creators and Mark. Still plenty of utility to be able to handle a couple of things. Sloppy still has an EMP as well, so he could either use that to get rid of some form of utility, or it could possibly use it to mask some sounds.
Dream's going to work his way up on Repel here. Start trying to see if anything will reveal itself from the Soniqs, but not going to be that apparent. He'll have to try to push in on his own regard here. But as you can see, that's going to be a very, very dangerous push if he attempts to it. Even with Crazy holding the cross angle, there's still 2 angles he has to check on entry. Oh, and he even gets the first one. A great opener from Gomfy there, or excuse me, from Dream, but it's immediately traded by Gomfy. Iconic picks up one by taking out Sloppy. Crazy, the only open opportunity here now for Tempo. Oh, and he's going to get blasted out of the round as easily finishes things off for the Soniqs, solidifying that 4-2 halftime score we brought up at the beginning of the round.
Well, for the Soniqs, that's a little bit of a rough patch. Usually the defense, you want to try and attempt to trend 4-2, but well, actually, I take it all back. I'd be completely wrong. They did do that. So there's mine for the day. That's my one. So
it's all good.
But actually a good defense from the Soniqs overall. I got really worried for them when it came down to how Mark was playing Buck, because he was playing lights out on that verticality on almost every single site. And when you have somebody being that oppressive and making it to where you can't move how you want to inside of sight, it's practically impossible to actually have a safe gunfight or be able to rotate away from something else if something gets too dangerous. And that's exactly what they need. And it worked out well for Tempo, but again, it wasn't everything that they needed. It seemed that the Soniqs were able to withstand the storm a lot longer than Tempo had originally planned.
Yeah, and while originally they were kind of like more prone to take fights, and that may have explained why Tempo had their earlier successes, we didn't see any of that as we got towards the later rounds in the half. Soniqs really learned their lesson, especially on Cash with that in my opinion, really dangerous, like 3 to 4 man stack they kept doing on red stairs. But I mean, despite the very precarious nature of it, it seemed to work out pretty well the times they did it. So maybe I'm just overreacting a little bit with that massive stack of players in the same spot and thinking that it might not be a good thing.
Okay, well, as the round begins for round 7, Soniqs in the lead, and they need to keep linking rounds together here if they're going for the 2-0. And you guys definitely know that's exactly what Super wants to happen. He wants Crazy to feel like he did everything he could, and he still lost 2-0. And that's the beauty of rivalries. That's the beauty of it. It's not the fact that I just want to win. It's the fact that I want to crush you and crush everything that you possibly care about.
He wants the meanest possible victory.
I want it to be a 1v1 with us after you just got 4 kills and then I kill you for the last round. That's what I want. Super's actually been doing very well as well, even though like obviously 2-2 and 4, but being able to get walls open, the calls that we've seen, the mid-round adjustments from the Soniqs working out very well, and the adjustments they made on their defense to be able to win those 4 rounds. Masterfully done so far from the Soniqs here on Clubhouse, but this is where, again, we separate these two teams. Who can do it better on the offensive side?
First map, he was doing work, and to be fair, on the individual side of things, like you said, he's dropped off in map number 2, but his teammates have picked it up in a very big way. Things are going to be a little bit more quiet here at the start. We got Gomfy just making some holes out in the hallway, down through main hall downstairs. He's going to do the same in kitchen, now that he's done his work out in the hallway, and at this point, just trying to hunt to see if he can catch anything. Nitro Cell deployed by at least one member of Tempo's defense here. It's going to be Crazy on the pulse, throwing his out. Won't ring true, though. No damage connected on anybody from the Soniqs, so all 10 players still at 100 HP. Just over half the round remaining here for the Soniqs.
Well, plenty of hatches open for Soniqs, so working down that checklist pretty well. Already have some kitchen destruction done as well, and the entire hallway destroyed. So now it's up to Tempo Storm to be able to hold on downstairs and try and find their way through these angles. The beauty of it is they do have Crazy on the pulse, so they'll know when and where they can play as long as they're able to use that cardiac sensor how they'd like. Easily picked off inside of blue and no one even near to try and refrag, so kind of a weird angle for him to take, especially by his lonesome. We're still 5-5 up as well. Surprised they didn't have anybody push across with him.
It's a brutal defensive setup for one player to peek into as well. 2 different players trained on the same angle. As you said, definitely near suicide for Easily to try and even go out there for info, let alone trying to get an opening pick. 2 players going to get spotted out here by Crazy, trying to see if he can locate any more. The comms have come out, but it's not going to matter. Iconic finds the first kill for Soniqs on this round. He's going to look to carry it forward a little bit. It's actually going to be working his way in through oil. Oh no! And he ends up getting down. He's not out just yet though, so if he can back up far enough, he might be revivable. In the meantime though, a lot of the mid-round action going to get started here. Super and Crazy trading blows with each other. Creators with the next pickup here. It's going to put it into a 3v2 advantage to Tempo. Well, it'll stay that way for a very long time. Iconic also incredibly low. He's got to be careful with how he commits himself to the rest of these pushes. He was able to get himself back up, but can he commit himself into the fight? Sloppy with the next pickup here. It's all on Iconic at very, very low HP, and he's going to get himself one more even. But Sloppy finally finishes things off, and Tempo claim round number 7.
They had everything that they needed all except for dirt, and that's the hard thing, especially when you have hard breach bans on this map. We didn't get a double hard breach ban, so we still, oh actually excuse me, we did. We have the Maverick ban, apologies for that. But having the Mav and Hibana here is the part that's really going to hurt them, because they still have to get those hatches open, and since Therm is the only one capable right now to get those hatches open, they have to commit those both to getting either Moto and kitchen, or you would end up having to get either blue. Or the troublesome thing is there's so many areas that you actually need to get opened up in order to get a diffuser down safely, at least, that you really can't pick 2 spots and be like everything is doable, you know, because for instance they're able to play dirt because you technically speaking can't get dirt open. They blew Moto hatch and they blew kitchen, so now where are you going to go? You really can't go anywhere, because now they just play inside of dirt unless you get those picks onto site, deep into site, where you can get that plant and you force that dirt player to swing. You're not going to get that man out of there.
And it was Tempo, if anybody's curious, that forced the issue on the second hard breach ban as they knocked out Hibana. They the weird one there. Sonic still followed normal meta trends and eliminated Maverick. They're the ones, Tempo this is, who kind of threw it into the crazy ban territory with the Hibana getting knocked out there.
Okay, well, Tempo after that round shoots straight upstairs to CCTV. Nothing too out of the ordinary here from them. We are going to have Sloppy with the Vigil again, and we've been seeing both of these squads run that Vigil, and it's not just because, you know, they want to roam or anything like that, and frankly, we haven't really seen any roaming, no rotations, anything of the sort. It's simply because of two things. Number one, the backpack tends to be annoying early when you're trying to drone things out and make sure that there's no roamers. And then two, he has those impacts for impact tricking. So for instance, as he's playing downstairs in garage right now and being played by Sloppy, he can actually impact above that garage to be able to prevent anything from happening. As you guys can see, they have the panels open above those. So if they go for any sort of breach here with those thermite charges, he's able to stop that all by himself.
30 seconds already gone by from the round. Got J9 just setting up a little charge there to make sure nobody pushes their way out and tries to kill him. He knocks out this wall real quick. He's going to have his teammate's hard breacher to work with him on that. Super is currently otherwise occupied on the drone there, so it might take a couple extra seconds to see that group up happen. But I think we're getting closer to it. In the meantime, Sloppy still patiently waiting down here to see if he will get the opportunity to catch Iconic. Anybody else from the team that will try to swing in downstairs and get control of the area he's currently defending. Sloppy's actually going to push back. He's going to be in a really awkward spot here in a second, too. His garage also just got opened back up. Super rotating, however, into a new position to help out. He's going to open up the side hall easily. In the meantime, was able to capitalize on the open garage wall and eliminate Sloppy, finally, after he had been forced into the corner there.
Well, the troublesome thing is now for the Sonics is they're going to need this garage control, but they can always plant in the corner that we actually see Creator sitting in right now, and he gets a very nice kill. That game sense working out for him. Didn't blow the panel all the way to the right, so have a little safety barrier still to work around and bags himself a kill onto easily. So that means all of those bolts that are not susceptible to ADSs but are to Mize are now gone. Still has some intel game here for the Sonics. Iconic's still alive. He's been pretty self-sufficient so far as well with his intel game. So we'll see if he's able to find any more presence in sight. Actually ended up misdroning someone there unless he saw the barrel inside of the corner of Cash. But now for the time being, it's up to the Sonics to try and get into garage here before attempting this plant.
45 seconds remaining. Another nice find from Iconic. Knocks out Dream. That was from way out on Rappel. So a perfect find from him to bring the Sonics back into this round with a man advantage. Is it enough for them to get into the site, though? It's only +1. They still have to build on this, and there you go. The advantage is already lost due to Mark's most recent pick. The rest of Tempo has barely had to move on the inside of the site here. Sonics, it's your play. You need to make these moves happen. And sadly, at the moment, they're just not able to do that. Everything is too much of a risk to be able to justify pushing in. Soon time is going to force that issue. They try to take out Mark with a swing against him, but no, Mark picks up even one more from out on Catwalk when the breach push finally happens. And Creator also finds an additional pick from that top red stairs spot.
Beautiful cross here from Tempo Storm for top of red and Rafters inside of garage. I've really been enjoying how teams have recently been playing Rafters as well, because it used to be that we would put a reinforcement there and then a shield on the other side, and people will try and go to and from sometimes onto the site. Well, obviously before the massive hole was there that usually ends up on that double wall for plat. But now they're making it to where there's a slight soft destruction right in the middle of the panel so you can see out, no rotation for everybody to walk through, and then they play a deployable shield right below that soft destruction so that you aren't able to be shot through the soft wall. I really, really like it because it makes it to where the 90 of Rafter is a lot safer to play as opposed to how it used to be. It used to be the area that you went to die in Rafters. You didn't want to touch 90 because if somebody was playing plat, you would just get obliterated, and that was the worst thing. But now, as we've seen, these teams have changed up how they play that Rafters area, and it's made it to where even when it gets down to this 3v3 situation, you're able to hold on to garage and get rounds.
And that's exactly what we saw Tempo do as they hang on now to their grasp of this matchup and the potential third map that's still to come later on. Only 3 more rounds needed from them to tip the scales and send us to that third map. Sonics now falling behind here. They're rebounding towards the end of the first half to take control of the lead. Now tied at 4-4. Tempo currently in control of things, but Sonics, we've already seen them adjust once in this game for their defensive strategy. Now they just need to do it once again on the attacking side. And we've also reached probably the hardest site Tempo's going to have to try and defend here. So this would be the best opportunity for the Sonics to try and take away a round.
Well, going to be bringing the Vigil once again, and again, I'll say I enjoy the idea and the concept behind bringing the Vigil, just because, again, that backpack's annoying and he has impacts and a great gun with the K1A. So seeing him played more often now is actually pretty cool to see. It's an operator that we still saw some of, but it was more for like roaming setups and stuff like that. Seeing him be more site-centric is pretty unique.
It's definitely a new take on things. Like I said, we definitely hadn't seen before. Take a look at Dream here. Just going to be doing a little bit of reconstruction work above the cache wall. I think he's got some pressure working in that direction. Might open up an opportunity to try and use the Nitro Cell later, but he's had to can it, at least temporarily. That drone, oh, nice drone from Beasley. It snuck right in the back. I don't think any of them saw it, but it should have been able to catch both the players on the inside. Now they realize it, but do they realize Gomfi is going to be creeping in right behind this breach? The Jaeger on the other side seems to have an inclination to it and will come out on top. That's Sloppy doing some nice work to be able to eliminate Gomfi and prevent what would have been the shutdown of the cache defense.
And the two international transfers going at it, and Gomfi falls to Sloppy. Oh, it's a Nitro Cell actually to try and stop the breach, but it doesn't work out. Dream still getting aggressive. This is that tempo-centric play that we've been seeing. Doesn't work out, though. Super ready for it. Playing his breach as a good Thermite should. I'm going to have the rest of the Tempo squad fall off, though, after that, and they're actually on equal footing now. Gomfi was the only man to die from the Sonics, as they were able to bring it back with Dream. So now, time to get drones inside of sight. Where are these anchor ops setting? Where do we need to try and gain control? Well, the main thing for the Sonics now is attempt to get creators out of logistics. That should more than likely be their next move. This is a very important area to play because creators can hold down the construction rotate as well as play into master, and that's exactly why Easley's on this hatch. He doesn't have any way to actually destroy it, so what they're going to do is have a drone come in here. They're going to mark him, and he's going to attempt to shoot him through that soft hatch, or they're going to do this, and I'm going to be completely wrong, but it works out anyways. Great setup from them, but he actually ends up taking a little bit of, no, didn't even take any damage for it. He's going to hop in now. Can he get them both? He can! Oh my god! What was that from Sloppy? Crazy and Sloppy making things work. It's into the 2v2 now. Diffuser in Super's hands. So once he starts trying to put that down, it'll be to the 1v2, but it doesn't even matter when J9's able to take down Crazy. They have some hot marks inside of sight. They need to try and put this down, but Sloppy finds yet another kill. If he's able to kill Super, this will be a quad on the round and a very big clutch. It's the pre-fire. Sloppy, quite a bit of damage dealt to him, but it doesn't matter. A quad for him on the round and round 9 in the backpack.
Super loses his train on Sloppy right at the very end of that when he swings, and Sloppy's able to rebound the final 1v1 to be able to clutch that back out and now give control of the current matchup over to Tempo Storm. They take the lead, sit only 2 rounds away from map number 3 on Consulate. Operator lineup is going to look pretty standard here for the site that they're moving on to, as they've now completed a full site rotation, 3 defensive rounds in a row, and can return to the basement to defend it once again.
All right, well, Tempo showing exactly why they picked this map. Remember, Clubhouse is Tempo's pick. Theme was the Sonics. So, defensive side working out very, very well for them so far.
Attackers need to locate.
But I will say the Sonics have been playing extremely well, specifically J9. I'm going to continue to sing this man's praises. He's a sub. He's been playing extremely well in every series that the Sonics have played so far inside of the NAL. And again, I think we're going to see him somewhere else with a different squad once his time with the Sonics is up. But for now, though, going into round 10, we need to see the Sonics tighten up the ship on offense. Things are falling apart, even when it's on equal footing going into that sub-minute category. It just seems that they can't win these gunfights or get the intel needed in those dire moments.
10 seconds left.
Time continuing to tick down. Here we will see exactly what Sonics have brought to the table to try and change up their own game plan or just improve on the previous implementation. To finally look for a W here on the attacking side. So far, it has been all losses being taken here for the most part. So they are really going to need to prop themselves up. This is the same issue that they faced against DZ, where the only round that they won was from the defensive side. They were unable to pick up any attacking rounds. A lot of memories of that matchup maybe surfacing in the minds of the Sonics players. They're going to need to get that out of the way and focus up here. This Tempo only need a few more to shut out this map entirely.
All right, well, drone down into Oil Pit. We'll see how the Sonics are going to go about this last time. The last time the big misstep for them was having easily pushed Blue all by his lonesome. He got picked off all the way from dirt, an angle that's very difficult to fight when it comes to swinging that corner, especially when somebody's already prepped. But this time around, Looks like they want to try and focus on blue as opposed to going for other things earlier on. Quite a bit of intel here from the Pulse once again. You have some soft destruction going on. One of those exothermics, well, actually the last one for Super, goes down onto Moto. So they end up getting the kitchen hatch open. That's the real question. Nope, they did not. So only Moto hatch open here. And they got what else? Did they get dirt? Yes, they got dirt in Moto hatch. So that's a very odd pick, actually, as Sloppy gets a pick of his own, speaking of picks, and that's going to be Gomfy off the board. No more sledge and no more grenades.
The worst part about that pick, though, too, is they don't really know where Sloppy went. He went back upstairs, but from that position, he could have easily swung either way. So that's another factor they're going to have to deal with here. Sloppy, of course, focused on a rotate from Cash, but he's not going to get any of that. He actually has complete freedom to try what he just did once again, and will have that freedom, I think, for the entire rest of the round. This is a pretty big deal if he goes unnoticed upstairs, because he can completely shut down the rest of the hit if this ends up being a situation where Sonic has to push for like 20 or 30 seconds.
And that's the other thing about the Vigil play as well, right? If you make somebody feel comfortable about it, then bring it and finally roam with it, you're really not expecting it. And as we've seen, the Sonics actually are expecting it. They've bullied their way into sight. Diffuser's down, though, as it's a flood from blue, but a trade from dirt comes from easily. Another down, but it's iconic to finally seal out the round. Sonics not letting this one go too easily.
Very hectic round as it basically just turns into a death match at the end of it. Both teams going at each other. You can see all these different angles towards the end of it. Everybody looking different ways as it becomes a very confusing mess of frags that ultimately the Sonics come out on top of to claim their first attacking round and put us right back into a tie game at 5-5. They lead the series, though, so Tempo has to be a little bit more worried about that. Their elimination here is potentially looming if they can't immediately rebound.
I like Sonic's adjustment in what they had, because last time they didn't get dirt open, and as we discussed, that was the problem. They were able to hold down dirt, and we saw the Jaeger play from there. I believe it was Creators as well again that time, playing inside of dirt, and he was able to dictate everything that the defense was going to do from that position. So taking that spot away from him made it a little bit more difficult. They did get the picks early on. The Vigil play worked out really well for them, but they've already shifted away from that, switching gears to the Legion. And that's something we were talking about earlier as well. They need to bring a couple of these operators to slow down the entries from their opposing squad. Both of these teams have done very, very well on entry today, but we haven't seen too many operators brought to actually stop that, or at least slow it down.
Legion, of course, an operator which recently kind of fell out of grace in the pro meta quite a bit due to the nerfs that he sustained. I think it was like 2 patches ago now that he managed to take those, which actually nerfed his info gathering quite a bit, unless you're like amazing at figuring out where sound cues are coming from. So because of that, we've seen him played, at least in my opinion, quite a bit less.
Yeah, just make.
I don't have stats to back that up.
Oh no, you are absolutely correct. He's basically never played at this point, in comparison to how he was played. Because the thing that made Legion so good for so long is there was never a bad moment to bring him. He's intel, he's everything. He does it all, and that was the danger of him. So now looks like the Sonics are more than likely going to be going about things in a very similar fashion. Not going to say same just yet, because we still have to see where the secondary breach goes down for Super. But priority's already been done. They got dirt open, so now dirt becomes a battleground instead of a safe haven for the defense.
Crazy already doing a little bit of reconstruction on the floor there just to fend off the initial kitchen pushes should they come his way. Sonics, in the meanwhile, very quiet start again to them, but we should expect nothing else at this point. That's been the way things have been going, and that's generally the way Clubhouse goes, especially against a basement defense. You can already see Gomfy onto the inside of main kitchen hall here, doing a little bit of reconstruction work on his own regard, trying to open up some punch holes here to see if he's going to be able to spot out anybody inside of Arsenal or that main hallway for that opening pick that Sonics probably very desperately want to give them a bit more confidence for their push.
Sonic's taken their time, though, and we haven't seen too much of that between these two squads either. It's been a lot of early frags and then kind of a lull, and then immediately after pick the frags back up. But for the time being, a lot of drone work put in from the Sonics, working out very well for them. But again, it seems that they're going to be going about things in a similar fashion. They opened up Moto again, so all of the hard breach is gone. Super's just now a man with another gun, but he needs to be able to attempt to put a diffuser down somewhere. The Sonics have already droned out all of blue, and Tempo has vacated the premises. So now Sonic's in full control of this area. Quite a bit of intel, though, still for Tempo. As you guys can see, quite a bit of soft destruction through the wall there, and they also have an Evil Eye set up on the other end, but let's see if that Evil Eye has actually been destroyed. It looks like it has, so Mark going to have to face check blue for the rest of this round.
Mark trying to just tap that drone that I believe was swinging in against him. Iconic again, first up to bat here though on the entry. Let's make it 2 before he finally gets traded out by Creators. Dream gonna push deep into dirt, pop one off with the shotty to eliminate Gomfy and bring us back into a 3v3 fight here. Soniqs working for a lot of control to the inside of Church. In fact, they're going to be able to take it. A great opportunity given to J9O here. He's only able to impact on a 1 player, though. Easily helps to make things up as he knocks out Mark and leaves everything on to Dream in what is now a 1 versus 2. He's got a hot ping on the 1 player. Just gas him out and prevent him from being able to push back into the site. And that's actually a pretty big deal, because despite the fact that Dream was unaware of it, he could have tried to roll back in and have himself the isolated 1v1 at that point, but hesitated a bit too much, gave the opportunity to J9O to swing out, and on his pre-fire, he finishes off the round.
J9. Again, I think we've sung his praises plenty enough today for all of you guys to remember the name J9, but another beautiful round from him, and the Soniqs pull ahead finally here on Clubhouse. So if they end up winning this round, this will be a clean 2-0 for them across theme and club. We're going to be headed upstairs finally as CCTV's unlocked for Tempo Storm. They had a pretty good showing on it the last time with some good picks onto the Soniqs. Soniqs not able to solve the Rubik's Cube that was Tempo's setup, especially after Tempo getting aggressive on a lot of fronts. And I think that's something that's unique to Tempo's playstyle. I was talking to one of the writers from CGG over the weekend, and he was asking me questions about Tempo Storm and the differences between them and this season and what they played like last season. And that was the biggest thing for me, is they seem to adjust a lot more, and they're not scared to be aggressive and take these gunfights because they feel like they can win them. And a lot of the times, they do.
And a lot of confidence in building up in the offseason here for Tempo. And it's been working out pretty well in both of their matches. Obviously, still a bit more work to be done in the department, but overall, some very, very impressive stuff. Is it enough to take a map like the Soniqs? So that is the question that's going to be answered through this round and the next few if we end up in an overtime situation. Only this 1 match point now for Soniqs to close it out in regulation before Tempo triggers OT, and we play out 3 more rounds to decide if it is indeed done with the series here or map number 3. Some last second reinforcements just going up for Tempo here just to finish off the red reinforcements, and now the Soniqs are out onto the board. Once again, probably very quickly going to take care of the security wall. Actually, might take a little bit more time. I just noticed we do finally have a Cade pick coming in on the site, so Dream's going to be picking that up. So there might actually be a little bit of disruption this time from the
It's not going to take nearly as long as you think. As you guys can see, Iconic's working his way up secret right now. They have some prevention there to try and stop him. That's Creators on red, but for the main game plan for the Soniqs, right now at least, is take over Lounge and be able to do some soft destruction underneath. Iconic with a very nice shot, but immediately gets traded out. He actually ends up getting 2 Sloppy and Creators. I don't even know how he made that happen, but either way, that's 2 kills.
Traded with Creators.
Wow, what a beautiful, beautiful entry frag. I wish we would have got to see that from his perspective. We'll probably see that later on Twitter, though. We still have to figure out who's going to win the series here. Iconic with 2 big kills, Sloppy and Creators, the 2 top fraggers right now for Tempo. It's all up to the site players and utility op players to seal this one out and push us to OT.
So a great play from Iconic. Yes, he does go down, but he gets the 2-for-1 against the player who killed him. As you can do that in Siege, you can confirm trades against the same player that killed you if you shoot each other's heads at the same time. Besides that, though, a lot of utility going to work its way in for the Soniqs, trying to flush out this player holding on top catwalk right now. You can see it. It's the Momai being played by Mark. They're trying to isolate out, and they'll try to do that a little bit more quickly with the opening up of the back garage panel. Drone going to follow that up just to reconfirm the Wamai's position, and more importantly, if anyone else is potentially swinging in from the downstairs part of the building.
Well, slow and steady for the Soniqs now, but easily an ill-advised peek. It's his head ripped off, and now we're into the 3v3 into a minute. This has been back and forth between Tempo and Soniqs this entire game. They still have one to worry about in Raptors, but they haven't hurt him just yet. An amazing shot from J9 outside of the breach now makes this a little bit easier. The last remaining site players push all the way back inside of the site. One top red and the other playing behind green box. It's all up to Crazy to try and slow down this take now. Remember, 37 seconds remain. He only has 2 smokes. Each of those only last 10 seconds. So for right now, he only has 20 seconds of prevention. We're super going to plant though. That's the main thing. They have to be able to hold the cross. Crazy expends his first smoke, so we're guaranteed down to 4 seconds here, but it seems that default, at least behind the stack, is guaranteed still. Doesn't want to cross though, as he does still have one inside of red. Gomfy going to attempt to hold this down. Nitro Cell outside, doesn't do enough, gets right back onto the plant, needs him to hold the cross. He rushes, he's able to take him down, hops the window, fries one, 3 seconds remaining. They need to be able to put this diffuser down though. Somebody has to pick it up. Plenty of shotgun power, but it's J9 again, and the Soniqs close it out in 2-0 fashion.
Oh, we need a timer on that one, man. That had to be so close to 0 on it overall. They just barely take out that last player and manage to clutch out the map. 7-5 is going to be the final scoreline, and the Soniqs will come out on top yet again to give themselves a 2-0 in this matchup, moving them further into the lower bracket for their group and knocking Tempo out from this stage.
An amazing game by everyone all around, and if this tells you guys anything, this just tells you the skill that's inside of North America. I mean, even E United today, even though they looked somewhat slow and they're working on things, they even look like they could beat any team if it was their day to play well, right? I think North America has some of the best talent right now inside of Rainbow Six Siege, and it's shown time and time again on these playdays, John. What a great game between these two, and I don't think the overall map scoreline really shows how close it was.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for us for this evening. Don't go anywhere, though, as we still have our final analysis desk segment along with the post-game interview coming up right after this break.
Welcome back, I'm Jackie Jing, and I'm with Veli and Jesse and the Soniqs getting the W, winning into defeating Tempo Storm again. But Tempo did put up a decent fight. Soniqs' attack strategy, though, really stuck out to you, right, Veli?
Oh yeah, I liked it a lot. Every time you saw them attack, let's say down below, Armory and Church, for instance, we always see teams, and Jesse and we always criticize them when they funnel in an area, right? When they funnel in a doorway, a rotation hole, what made you have it? The one thing Soniqs did well, which is something I love, they attacked from every angle possible. For instance, the round before last, you had Easily going down blue. You had Gonfi and Dirt. You had Super J9, and Iconic jumping down Hatch and Moto and just running things in main hallway and also Church. They were attacking them from every angle, and the reason why that worked is because everyone they're fragging, they're lights out. Iconic, he's making bullets stick to him like white on rice, and when you have confidence like that, you're literally winning every gunfight. Why not pinch him in every way possible? And also, one thing you do, you take the load and the pressure off of everyone else, because every fight is going to be basically a 1v1. You're not going to have 3 people stopping you at a rotation hole, and once they kill you, they run away free. No, they shut that down immediately.
Yeah, and talking about strategy, Jesse, Super had been on hard destruction for all of map 2, which you were actually asking for last play day, so...
Yeah, I mean, I think that Super, last play was playing a lot of really aggressive roles, and obviously, there were times where maybe he was finding some success, but generally it wasn't working great for their squad. But I really did enjoy that, Super was, taking a step back maybe and letting some of his other guys shine through, particularly with Gonfi jumping on the roster. I'm sure that had a big part in it. In general, though, Super had a really good day today. I think in map number 1, he was really finding that, the kill feed quite a bit on the positive end of things. And here in map 2, he had, a number of really standout moments. On defense, I love that he played the Clash that one round. He really did help his team there, and he died eventually on the roll, but did feel like he helped out his teams get kill on the roam. And then obviously, being on that Thermite, it's such a stressful role on Clubhouse when you've only got one hard destructor. It's like, all right, Super, don't mess this up. And he didn't. In general, Super played hard destruction really well. He was getting those plants down really consistently, which is something we praised Retro for earlier today, and I think Super did, again, a really good job on that. So, yeah, I thought the team captain, the Soniqs, did a really good job today.
And I also like to point out, most of those pushes, when they were going from different angles, they only had basically one hard breacher. So the fact that Super had a 100% success rate when it came to that, big. One counter in that whole strat is for the birds.
Yeah, Super definitely played really well. Without question, though, I mean, we got to call attention to this entire team here. Round 3, Easily and Gonfi, I thought were looking top-notch. Gonfi pulling off that 2v1. Iconic, J90. I mean, who was really standing out to you today? Veli, I'll start with you.
The person that stands out is Iconic. I mean, that's the easy answer, right? But to me, it's really going to be Gonfi. Yes, Iconic, he had the freedom to run around and do what he does best. He click heads, But Gonfi... the guy he didn't play last week. He came in fresh. He had a fresh pair of legs, and he was fragging out of control. The 1v2 that he had in server and cash also to win that game. The patience that he showed after getting that first kill and then applying the necessary pressure, that's what veteran players do. That's what all of Soniqs did right there, which is something I was extremely impressed about. So hats off to them. They have a chance to get second place in their division now. Next game, I can't wait to see who it's against. I think that they have a legit chance to finish top 4.
And Jesse, I know you were writing down Iconic's name a lot. You were even saying that while we were watching, so.
No, I think Iconic has been incredible. I think it's been really fun to see on the same match day, Iconic play and then also NJR play on Disrupt, right? Because those are the 2 rookies that are the mainstays in their team. They've just turned 18. They're competing against each other. They're great friends. They used to play together in the underage leagues, and they're both really popping off for the team. So there's going to be a debate going forward in the season. Who's going to be the rookie of the year? Who's going to really take that title? And it's too close to call at this point. Both players have been amazing, and so yeah, I definitely want to shout out Iconic as much as I can on this broadcast, because given the circumstances, given the fact that he's brand new to this team, given the fact that the team's had so many roster issues, the way he's coordinated with his teams and the way that he's consistently able to hit that scoreboard has been really, really nice to see.
And we actually have Tempo Storm statistics up right now, and what was their downfall today? I know both of you spoke about Mark and Dream's inconsistency. Veli, maybe you want to take this
I mean, you said it. Inconsistency. There's no reason why. And you know what? I give them credit. These guys are professional players. They're good. There's no reason why players like Mark and Dream can either be the best player on their team for map 1 and then the worst on map 2. That destroys a lot of momentum, and I wonder if it gives them false hope in a way, because it doesn't make sense. Mark was running the show on Clubhouse, especially in the first half. There was no stopping him, right? They had to do a double flank on him when he was below with Buck. So that's one thing. Dream went against TSM and played lights out. You can't play against one of the best teams in the world, have your best game out there this season, and to go against Soniqs and kind of disappear. I said before the game started, Dream was an X factor for me for Tempo to win, and I was kind of disappointed. I expected better, but I don't think that's going to be something that you see often from him.
I also just want to chime in and say I feel really bad for Tempo Storm because this is 2 match days in a row now where they've played really, really well, but they just barely missed that win, and so they've yet to take a map even. So it's like, oh gosh, they're so close, and then it's like it never happens. I think also the Soniqs had on their side that I didn't change my prediction halfway through our maps last time I did that, and I got chewed out for forcing the Soniqs to lose due to, I don't know, the powers I have. And so this time, at the request of the Soniqs GM, I made sure that didn't happen, and they walked away with the win. So I won't argue with it anymore.
Oh, man. All right. Well, gentlemen, the man of the hour is on deck. I know Veli's very excited about this
fun,
interview.
Jackie. Have fun.
Yes. Super, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Congratulations on the victory. Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. So, Super, you've been talking smack about Tempo Storm, mocking them. How does it feel to get this victory?
I mean, it doesn't feel like anything. Honestly, beating Tempo Storm's like waking up in the morning. You just do it every single time until you die, and I'm still alive, so.
Oh, okay. All right. Pretty casual about that. I kind of thought you all came out guns blazing and you wanted to crush your opponent. Is there anything that you want to say to Tempo Storm?
I mean, I feel like I've said a lot already. They know what I think about them. They're not good. We know they're not good. Everybody else knows they're not good. Saw Troy talking about them on Intero's podcast, and some people bring the energy to matches. Some people play for the scrim GGs, and I think we know what kind of team they are. I actually thought Crazy played really well, especially, that 5v1 clutch is one of the first aces, or one of the very few aces, so, props to him for that. But, we basically were blasting them on the first map, and they had 2 clutches, and then on the second map, we were kind of feeling sorry for them, so we like to give them some hope, but at the end of the day, we'll step on their throats when it comes down to it.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you pointed out his ace. That was pretty nice. But you got the victory against Tempo Storm. What message do you want to send out to the other teams in the NA that may be sleeping on the Soniqs?
They should pray that Slubin can't play in time. That would be my suggestion, to pray.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you so much, Super, and congratulations again on your victory. All right, let's get back to the analysts. Veli, Jesse, thank you. Oh, such a fun time always chatting with him. He is just so blunt and lays it all out. But were we surprised? No. He did give Crazy some credit. I was actually pretty proud of him for that.
At the end of the day, we're all competitors, and we all have a respect for one another. Well, they have a respect for one another, and you would have to be flat out like an evil person to really say Crazy didn't do good at all. You would have to be the type of person to say any of these guys didn't do good at all. They're amazing. They're here for a reason, and so I respect it, man. The trash talk is fun, but at the end of the day, real recognize real.
Yeah, I think a lot of people love to hate on Super, and sometimes it may be deserved, but you got to give him credit for sure, as Veli said, and I live for Super interviews, so I'm very very happy we got that today.
I love that last line. He's telling him to pray, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, him with the one-liners. But are y'all ready for our play of the day from Corsair? What do you guys think? What do you think it's gonna be?
It has to be the Crazy.
I'm thinking Crazy's ace.
It has to be the Crazy ace.
Yeah. All right, let's see what it is. Let's roll it. Crazy Days, maybe? Okay. And yes, yeah. This is awesome. The three of us were screaming when this was going down.
Oh my gosh, I jumped up in my chair. I was screaming like a madman. It was the last kill that I literally screamed like a woman.
It's ridiculous. He gets one, and I'm like, all right, well, it doesn't matter. The round's over. And he gets the second one, I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And he gets the third one, I'm like, this isn't possible. I remember said it. I said it. I was like, it's not possible, right? And there it was. Yeah. Especially with the SMG-11, it's just so tough to pull off something like that. But Soniqs, they fed him a bunch of one-on-ones, and he took all of them happily.
That was beautiful. It was beautiful. All right, and that was our Corsair play of the day. But gentlemen, let's look over our bracket and recap the day a little bit. Veli, you want to talk about the first half of the day?
Yes, the first half of the day was amazing. We saw E United and Disrupt Gaming, both teams that fell short day one against some of the biggest, now I'm going to say the two best teams in NA, right? So, E United, unfortunately, they lost and they won't make it to top 4 in stage 2. But the second game of the day, I mean, that was a banger. That was the game we all wanted, right, Jesse? I don't know about you guys, but that was like Lakers versus Celtics type of energy. I love that vibe. Big plays all around.
And Jesse, what do you think for looking at the bracket right now?
I mean, what this shapes up to be is it means that E United and it means that Tempo Storm are going to be locked out of the top 4 for our first stage here. So that's really that's very bad for those teams. That means obviously they're no longer able to get automatically sent to the major. They can still make it to the North American qualifiers, so things aren't over for them. But this was a huge day for both these two teams, and frankly, they couldn't show up when it really, really mattered. So obviously there's going to be a loser no matter what, but I think you've got to put give your heart out to those teams, especially since they fought so hard for it, and particularly Tempo Storm, and just couldn't come up with it.
Yeah, 2 great series today. But gentlemen, awesome job today. Awesome job to our casters, and big thank you to everyone at home for watching us.
Time out. Were you closing the show just now?
I was.
I want to say something. I wanted to do this at the beginning of the show, but I forgot. There was a lot on my mind, right? I want to say for everyone out there, I came to the scene about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And so I was new to a lot of things. The one person I really wasn't aware of was Icy Cat. And I wanted to say, my heart and, my blessings and my wishes go out to his family. But for those of you out there, feel free to always reach out to a close friend, family member. There's a hotline if you're ever going through anything in life. Because at the end of the day, we're all person. The pressure of the world can get the best of you. I know that, okay? So remember, stay strong. Be there for your friends. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I wanted to show love to his family.
Yeah, thank you so much, Veli. And, one thing that I think the three of us can say is that this community has just been so loving and kind and warm to all of us, and we are there for each other. So I just wanted to echo those sentiments. And again, big thank you to you two. You did a great job today. And thank you to our hardworking crew. And we're really looking forward to the next play day. But that's a wrap for today's show. Bye, you guys.